Let me try it again. Hello, hello, hello. All right.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go. All right, all right, all right. Hey, Rattler Nation. Welcome to another live episode of the O&G StrikeZone. Bryan Fulford, Kelvin Rozier right now. A little bit later on in the show, Marcus Green will be joining us, I'm sure. Big show for you tonight. Loaded up and locked in. We got some special guests right now. Our featured guest will be none other than the head ball coach himself, Coach James Colzie III. You know, what was that phrase you said last week, Kelvin? We don't duck no smoke around here, do we?
We don't duck no smoke around here.
No, and Coach Colzie, he don't duck no smoke either. So he's coming in. He's coming in. He knows it's hot, and but we love the fact that Coach is accessible and open and willing to come in and talk.
Yeah,
I know a lot of folks have questions and thoughts and comments, and we want to hear all your thoughts and feedback. So if you got any questions, we always know you guys love the chat room, but if you want to send us a some well thought out questions, go ahead and send them to ONGStrikeZone@gmail.com. Shout out to Demetra. She took me up on the word and sent some great questions. So hopefully we'll get a chance to get to some of those. But all you guys have an opportunity. Go ahead and send those comments and thoughts. ONGStrikeZone@gmail.com. How's my signal coming into you, Kelvin? My signal strength. I don't know why I want to act like my Wi-Fi is acting funny today. Maybe it's because I'm sitting here trying to watch this BCU FAMU volleyball game. That's just messing with me right now.
Or maybe it's because you got that nice hat on that I ain't know nothing about.
Coming soon to an online merch store, BCN color themed gear. You notice this particular hat has a particular color theme to it, right? But yeah, no, we got more merch and t-shirts and some other stuff that we're looking to drop. So yeah, we'll tell you a little bit more about that. We are watching live. What has not happened since we've been in the SWAC. It hadn't happened since, God, I don't know how long, far back, at least 2019, might even be longer. That our volleyball team, I didn't say women's, but our volleyball team is in the midst of potentially losing here to Bethune-Cookman. I'm looking at set point, match point, and we just staved that off, so it'd be side out. But yeah, we're facing match point right now against Bethune after what's been a tough road trip in Alabama. I'm just kind of looking at the series history. The last time, look, we have not lost to Bethune since we've been in the SWAC. Put it like that. Oh, my God. And then a service error to close the game out. Jesus, help me. And that's how it ends. So Bethune ends up winning 3-1. The first time that a FAMU volleyball team has lost to Bethune-Cookman in the SWAC since we joined the SWAC. We had a run of, let me do the math here. Was it 10 in a row? Yeah. Nope. It wasn't 10. 9. 9 in a row, which matches a 10-game streak that we had dating back to 2010. That's the second longest streak. But a 9-game winning streak has just fallen apart at Bethune-Cookman. And now the Lady Rattlers fall to 1-4 in conference play after a tough pair of losses in Alabama, where we lost 3-0 to Alabama State. And this Bethune-Cookman team, Kelvin, they beat Alabama State on Sunday, so I knew we were going to have our hands tied. And then we lost a 5-setter to Alabama A&M on Sunday. Just a tough start right now for our Lady Rattlers, huh?
It is, and we had 10 new players, and coaches have been able to turn the roster over and still have been able to dominate the conference essentially. But at some point it catches up with you, and I know he said he had some injuries, so I don't think he has the lineup he anticipated having at this point in the season. But it happens. Nobody stays on top forever, so I guess teams are getting their licks in right now.
Hey, look, you may be right. It is still early in the season. There's still a lot of volleyball left to be played. So let's. The ladies are actually, this is a part of a long road trip, a long stretch of road games. They played the 2 in Alabama, the midweek game against in Daytona Beach. And then this weekend, they travel to Southern for a match on Sunday. And then on Monday, they travel over to Lorman, Mississippi. So it'll be 5 consecutive road games for the Lady Rattlers. So, we'll catch you up on some of the standings a little bit later in the show and kind of reset that as we go. But I want to thank everybody for coming in. Hit the thumbs up and the like button if you would, wherever and however you're watching us on the YouTube feeds via the JBN, My JBN Online, or the Black College Sports Network there, or O&G StrikeZone, where you can always go back and see clips from the shows if you want to go check out various segments. I did some clipping earlier. I clipped our segments from last week with Stashay, and if you missed that, very insightful and entertaining conversation we had with her. Of course, Vaughn joined us, Vaughn Wilson of HBCU Game Day and the Eddie Jackson 220 Quarterback Club with some great information regarding the Georgia Football Classic and that failure that happened last weekend. And then our interview with Miss Stubbs. So all of that is available, O&G StrikeZone, and I'll be clipping a little bit more as time permits. So that's where you can always go and get some of those shows. And we'd appreciate you subscribing to any of those feeds. Hello to everybody on Facebook. Hello on Instagram Live if anybody is there. And hello to everybody watching on Twitter. Let's do a few shout-outs, Kelvin, before we get into some of the breaking news or some of the headline news. And then, of course, as mentioned, bottom of the hour, head coach James Colzie, as he's coming in. So, we look forward to having him on the show. First up, we say what up to Jimmy Mack. Good to see you, Jimmy.
What's up, J Mac?
Good to have you in there.
Looking forward to seeing you next week, J Mac.
Homecoming?
Yeah.
Okay. Bull understands the importance and the heightened sense of needing this victory this week against North Carolina Central. Football team definitely got to get that one. Need that one for sure.
Good seeing you last week, Bull. You and the missus.
Yeah. Ken Rozier. What up, Ken? Kenny?
What's up, Ken? Alice?
Yeah. Hello, beautiful people. Good to see you. Zeke Love checking in. Good to see you, Zeke.
What's up, Zeke?
Good to see you. B Starks, thanks for being a JBN subscriber.
What's up, Big Starks?
Meredith as well, another JBN subscriber. Hey, Meredith.
Meredith.
All the way down to South Florida. Hey, Meredith. 305.
Hey, Auntie.
Thank you for being a JBN subscriber as well. Tony checking in. Good to see you, Tony. Thank you. Another JBN subscriber, Marcus. Good to see you.
Hold it down for me, Marcus. I'll be a little tardy coming in this Saturday.
Troy checking in. Good to see you, Troy. Appreciate you.
What's
Ashton
up,
Harris.
eyebrow? Well, the question is, will he have one eyebrow or two?
What, after this weekend?
Yes.
Was this an eyebrow bet weekend?
Yes.
Ooh. No comment. What up, Ashton? Good to see you. Thanks for checking in. JT, good to see you as well. Thanks for checking in. Gail.
What's up, Gail?
Gail, with the cool memorabilia stuff. Gail hit me up. She had some real cool memorabilia that she wanted to shoot over to Al Chester. So love it. Melissa Wilson checking in. Good to see you, Melissa. V Gaines in the house.
What's up, Vic?
All right. Good to see you. Good friend.
Nashville, Tennessee.
Chuck Hunt, always checking in.
What's up, Chuck?
There's Demetra. I mentioned
That's
Demetra.
My dog. If anybody got something to say, you tell them. That's my dog.
What up, Tamara T? Checking in.
What's up, Tamara T?
Thanks for being a JBN subscriber. James Austin checking in, asking the $1 million question. Not sure. Your guess is as good as mine there, James. Alice McCullough from Palm Beach checking in.
The answer needs to be yes.
Yeah, it does. I didn't get a chance to see it, but V and Matt said they brought some smoke today. So I didn't get a chance to watch it, class, school life, but always insightful. Always available on YouTube. If you missed any part of the 220 Eddie Jackson 220 Quarterback Club, it's all there. Makiba West, thank you for joining in. Appreciate you.
Wow, West.
Kerry Daniels checking in from Duval.
Hey, big win Monday night.
Oh, my God. Was it a big win? Tashay, what up? How you doing?
What's going on, Tashay?
She was out there visiting folks' homecomings and stuff, out there hanging out with the Hornets' nest, in the Hornets' nest. Let's see whose homecoming will Tashay be at this weekend.
With her peoples.
With her peoples.
I thought we were her people.
I think she might have lost a bet. Maybe that's what it was. Nehemiah Jefferson, appreciate you coming in.
What's up, home team? Hello.
Jab in the house. Mike Road Dog Reed coming in. Hi. All right, good to see you, Mike. Little baby, what up, little baby?
What's up, big little baby?
Watch JD TV. Good to have you in there.
What's up,
Robert
JD?
Kelly in the house.
Who?
Robert Kelly.
R. Kelly? What's up, R. Kelly?
Only is that R. Kelly, but
okay.
I wanted us every R. Kelly just like live in like that. We're in that place where people are like, who? And you just not that R. Kelly.
I don't see nothing wrong.
I gotta imagine every R. Kelly just lives in that world of not that R. Kelly. Oh, okay. Coach Jefferson, what up, Coach?
What's up, Coach?
Good to see you, Coach. Good to see you, Coach. EA, of course.
Hey.
EA, I'm gonna ask a question regardless. I can't cut the chats off, so I don't even know how to. I can't cut the chats off. I can't. So you're gonna do what y'all gonna do in there. I can't hide them. So I can choose not to put them on the screen, but they appear. So just be mindful of that, y'all. Okay. Don't be that guy or gal. What up, Hitman? Good to see you. Checking in from Charleston, South Carolina. Earl.
What's up?
They were going.
Earl.
Thought they were gonna call you, Earl. Just saying. Hope you were ready. Be on call early. You might get that call. Area Young, good to see you checking in from
what's up, Area?
Charlotte, North Carolina. Yeah. She was at a homecoming. I think she was at South Carolina's homecoming. Sent some videos. It looked like it was a good crowd.
Ooh, yeah. If some rough homecomings, man, we got to be prepared for ours next week.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah. Tasha said I needed some football in their life. Well, boy, you got a game. You got a game, definitely.
Yeah, understand.
Yeah. You mentioned that we got thoughts and prayers to the communities, not only of Orangeburg, South Carolina, Montgomery. You know, just we talked about this on Sunday's show, Kelvin, just the heightened sense of awareness that I think we all have to have with our homecomings, because this is homecoming season. This is last week started it, but I think we got 13 schools that are having homecomings this weekend. Right. And, you know, it's got to be hellish on the planning, but we are the caretakers. Homecoming is for us, and we need to be extra vigilant when we see things. Don't be afraid to say something when you see something. That's kind of what I would, you know. But
Bryan is a sign of the times, man. You got to remember, South Carolina State is a closed campus where you have to show ID to even get on campus. And, you know, that happened with guests at a dorm, man. It's just, I don't know how you can police everything out of it, man. We just got to be better.
Kylan with an interesting question. I think it is, you know, you're right, Kylan. I don't want to underscore that, because I think you look at the numbers show that there is something, but a lot of it is visitors. And so I think everybody's precaution, you've seen an increase in the game times, where I think a lot of game times are moving up closer to noon and 1 o'clock. And so that maybe you get people off campus by 5, 6 o'clock. You know, I don't know, you know, it is worth being studied. I would love to hear FAMU's plan for homecoming next weekend.
Well, I was just, I don't know, other than, you know, just being vigilant, man. I was so big and it spread across the whole city, man. You got stuff at Frenchtown Rising and in Macomb. You got T-Pain block party right around the corner. You have all the events that traditional on campus. You have all sub parties and hanger-on promoters in every venue around town. It's so much happening. There's no way you can, again, police your way completely out of this. We just, as a community, we got to do. We just got to do better and look out. And we see things happening. I can tell you, I was working security last week at Florida State game, and Miami, Florida State, and as soon as people went to Oregon, they got ejected out the stadium. You just got to be proactive. When you see things growing small, you got to knock it in the bud right there.
Well said. Well said, you do. Let's get to one of the breaking news stories, which, if you watch our show, and if you made it towards the last hour of our show, after our great guest lineup that we had, we kind of gave you the heads up that change was afoot within the athletic department, as we had learned that Travis Glasgow had submitted his resignation as the interim athletic director. I'm not going to put out there where he's going. I don't think it was in the article in the Tallahassee Democrat, or even in the article I saw from HBCU Legends, but needless to say, it brought up that question that we were asking last week of who's next. And what is the bridge? Because, we still are in a limbo status as to whether or when AD Suggs will be back. So FAMU has made the call to a reliable source, and he has answered. And so again. And for the fourth time, Florida A&M announces that the appointment of Michael Smith, who is right now the Associate Vice President for Finance and Administration, is going to serve as the interim athletic director. This was effective Monday. So this release actually was sent out Wednesday. So, for whatever reasons. But anyway, of course, many of you remember Mr. Excitement, as he's also been a current, was just recently inducted into the FAMU Sports Hall of Fame. So we have to say FAMU Sports Hall of Famer AD Michael Smith is, I guess, how we have to coin that. But again, many of you know that this is the fourth time, and really it's the third time in the last 3 years that he has filled the role as the interim AD. And it brings us back to the graphic that I never thought I'd have to update. But
looking at that graphic, you figured you was gonna have to update it.
I had to update. Yeah, I had to update it. So the last time I showed this graphic, it was, I think it was after or when AD Sykes got the job a couple years ago. And so, yeah, if you saw the most recent article in the Tallahassee Democrat, they stopped back at the Bill Hayes era, which was Michael Smith's first actually, if I'm not mistaken, this is number 5 for Mike. If you look at if you go off what I have listed, this is his 5th time in this role, because he came in as the interim after Bill Hayes. And then also after Derek Horn, then after Courtney Gaucher, and after AD Tiffany Dawn Sykes, and then after Travis Blasco stepped down. So I don't know. I thought it was number 4. I thought it was the 4th time, but this is actually maybe number 5. 5th time Michael Smith has sat in this role. And the only reason, and I have to put a question mark, because AD Suggs is on a paid leave right now. So, I mean, she's not officially out of the role. So that's why I kind of put the question mark there. Oh, Kelvin, when you look at this, it just hurts your heart, doesn't it?
We wonder why we struggle to sustain. And it is amazing. Now, let me just say this. It's amazing the job that the coaches do when you look at that.
Yeah.
It's amazing. No stability in the big chair. And frankly, this is direct reflection, a testament to our leadership, the highest executive leadership, the presidents and the board. Man, this is ridiculous. This is tomfoolery. We should be better than this. Our brand is better than this. I mean, what are we doing? Can we keep somebody in chair for more than 2-3 years? Please. We got a competent person. Why is it taking us 4 months now? No word. Come on. We need leadership. And we need leadership to show leadership. Disappointing. But Mike is he's a grown-up in the room. I trust him. Of course we trust him. because he done did it 4 times before.
Right. Exactly.
He knows this ain't no shot at him. He knows what what's gonna need to be done, and he'll be fine, as the interim. But what the hell are we doing, man? Got to be better.
Yeah, I wish someone would. I don't know. Maybe I'll tweet this out later, but somebody drop this in President Marva's lap and just say, we need stability, ma'am. Madam President, if you get nothing right in your time here at FAMU, can you please get athletics right? Please. Bring, first off, I'm one of those people that's going to tell you, bring AD Suggs back.
You're right.
But,
hey, and let me also say, I just got to jump in since you put it out there. You're not going to get everybody to agree on every point.
No, you're not.
But if you got someone who knows the job, can do the job at a high level, has the relationships, man, stop messing around. Let's move forward. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's all right. That's all right. Yeah, if you put all the years together, who was it? Kylan said, yeah, the longest tenured AD in the last 15 years. Gee, you might be on to something. I mean, total months on the job. Yeah, you might be on to something there, Kylan. I said I'd love to have an AD that could make it through a graduation cycle, a 4-year graduation cycle. That's what I'd love to have. But oh man, I had to actually move. This thing's getting so long. This is building a life of its own. This is 25 years, folks. 25 years.
Yeah, man. How do you continue to keep and sustain your coaches, your support staff, your administrators? How do you ask your student athletes to be committed and you're not showing commitment to them? You just got to be better, man. Like we say, we don't dodge no smoke around here.
No, we don't. So we'll find out some of the plans. I know we'll both kind of reach out to AD Smith, and
I almost feel bad. I was gonna reach out today, but I almost
thought
feel
about
bad
it too. I almost wanted to as well.
Because he's got so much on his plate that he's just jumping head first into, and then next week is homecoming, and so I understand if nobody else understands. So I almost feel guilty in trying to pull him away for 20, 25 minutes to give us a lay of the land. But I test the waters and see if he can and will be able to do something next week.
And just imagine being, and you know what? I how many different, and obviously, I'm gonna just put this up for a second because if you look at the timeline, how many different presidents was this? Robinson was president for at least the 2 in the late 2020s or early 2020s, right? How about that period of time in the a decade ago? Was who were our presidents? I mean, but
Ammons, Gaines,
1, 2. So he served as the athletic director during at least 3 different presidents. This being his now 4th. The list was short when we were talking about who FAMU was going to bring in. And it really was just a matter of would Michael Smith agree to it? I mean, because at some point you got to think, y'all passed up on me when I applied for the job back in 2023 because he was on the list when we hired AD Sykes. He was part of the interview process.
And also, he's on his way to retirement. I mean, he's in his last year drop, if I'm not mistaken. So I think at the end of December, So is he going to put that off, or can he even put that off?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Great decisions, but yeah. The one other piece of news that I wanted to make mention of before we go to a break, Kelvin, we saw or we heard from the university, President Johnson, in regard to the SWAC's issuance of a fine of $10,000 and their supposed suspension of Joe Bullard. The university has, in a President Johnson, in a strongly worded message to Joe, that in short, basically what was said is not acceptable, can't be said, can't be done in the future. But the university apparently is going to appeal the fine and the suspension. They are imposing a 1-game suspension, and which means no Joe for Saturday's North Carolina Central game. But unless the SWAC decides to come down with something heavy, I think you'll hear Joe for homecoming. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. But that seems right that the university appealed that. Don't you agree?
Well, we talked about it last week. And the comment was, if you love FAMU like we love FAMU, then you have to appeal that. It's overkill. You can dislike or disagree with it, but the university coming down with a decision is one thing. But the conference to get all in the weeds, all in the Kool-Aid with the wrong flavor over a band announcer when they can't even keep their bands in the band competition that the conference is a part of during the Celebration Bowl. That's what they need to be focusing on. And of course, we talked about the inconsistencies of the selective outrage, but no, I totally support our administration on this, and I'm glad to see it. Well, whether it's successful or not, you got to fight.
I love Bull's idea about recording Joe's voice and just recording it just in case, Right.
Hey, well, whatever they decide to do, I don't know if that would be approved or authorized from a university standpoint or not, but let's get through this and then homecoming, let's party and move forward.
Well said. All right, let's take our first break and come back, and we will see if we have Coach. If not, we got definitely some other news to get into. So we'll check in and see where Coach is at. And
he's testing right now. He's sitting there.
Okay, good deal. So we'll take our first break, and coming up on the other side, Coach James Colzie III will be in with us. You're watching the O&G StrikeZone right here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be back in just a moment.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a stance, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU.
College football fans, the Cricket Celebration Bowl is celebrating 10 years of crowning an HBCU national champion. A champion will rise at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on December 13th as the MEAC and SWAC champions clash in Atlanta. Join us for championship football, interactive fan experiences, and iconic marching bands. It's an HBCU family reunion that you don't want to miss. See who will be crowned the next HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
Welcome back to the O&G StrikeZone. Bryan Fulford, Kelvin Rozier, soon to be joined by Coach James Colzie III. I'm sure he'll be joining in with us as the Rattlers come off the unplanned bye week and get ready for a non-conference game against North Carolina Central. They too were on a bye week this past weekend, and North Carolina Central has been hot. Speaking of hot in the world of football, four games, four SWAC games, SWAC v. SWAC games took place last weekend. And did you notice, Kelvin, 3 of the 4 games, the winning team scored over 50?
Yeah. The SWAC, looks to be top heavy with like 2 teams specifically, and then everybody else. That's the way it's looking right now. In the West, is part of the whole entire West is part of everybody else.
Yeah.
That's the way it's looking.
Yeah. Definitely this upcoming weekend, which we'll get into a little bit later in the show, game of the year implications, especially in our SWAC division. I'll take a second and so for those of you who aren't familiar or haven't seen the latest standings in the SWAC as it relates to the football teams. Put those on the screen here in a second. Give everybody a chance to see where everybody is at amongst our opponents in the conference. Of course, on the east side, both Alabama State and Jackson State won last week in impressive fashion, both of them scoring over 50 points. Gave up a lot of points, but they scored a lot of points in big numbers, big bulk numbers. Bethune, who played Alabama State last weekend, got off to a hot start. One play, 85-yard touchdown to open the game. And then Alabama State scored like 45 of the next, went on like a 45-7 run after that point. I think the final score was 50-something to 52-35. And then Jackson State took on Alabama A&M, and took them down in Mobile. Took them down to Mobile and whooped up on them, 57 to I don't have the scores pulled up here, so not that it matters, but it was 57 to a lot. A lot to a little. Here it is. I found it. 57-24. So, yeah. And last week, of course, was supposed to be one of those weekends where it was an East v. East kind of thing. So, yeah, it was what it was. All right. We've seen the East standings. We'll talk about the West a little bit later. But let's not keep our guests waiting. Coming in right now is the head ball coach himself, none other than our head ball coach, Coach James Colzie III. Coach, how you doing this evening? Thanks for coming in and joining us.
I'm all as well, man. No problem. No problem. You know, I always got you guys. And just gonna fine tune some looking at some third down tonight. So that's what we're still doing in the office right here.
Okay. Well, speaking of that, how deep into the weeds do you get when you have an unplanned bye? Obviously, you have the unplanned bye, and I know that meant you had an opportunity to do some recruiting, but it also gave you some extra time to analyze things. So how deep into the woods did you and the staff get? And, you mentioned third downs, but, outside of that, what else?
Well, I mean,
a chance to look at.
Basically, up until, I want to say Wednesday morning, we were looking at last Wednesday, we were looking at Mississippi Valley, right? So we had to make a quick pivot to, going to get ready for North Carolina Central. We didn't practice that day, the next day, because we had to prep and, all of the film that North Carolina Central we had on them, we hadn't necessarily broke them down. So we had a whole day to break down games, and, they've already played 6, so we're basically using their last 4. We're using Old Dominion, we're using North Carolina A&T, East Texas A&M, and Fayetteville State. We just try to get their last 4 football games. And so what we did was we used Thursday, Friday, Saturday to get ready for them, and obviously now we're using Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, right, to get ready for them. So, but really in regards to us, like we started that Saturday right after the game. After I talked to you guys in the press conference and things like that, man, we went back and we met from about 8, 9 o'clock that night. And just, as we talked about doing a hard reset, just talk about our football team, what we needed to do, some of the things that I thought we needed to eliminate. And, so for the next, these last 2 weeks it started with that conversation about what I wanted to see from here, moving forward. And we've done a good job with it for the last 2 weeks.
I got to imagine when, there were probably a lot of the best time to grow is probably when you're able to have honest, uncomfortable conversations with everybody, right? Can you take us behind the scenes as much as you can or willing to?
Well,
go ahead, Coach.
Well, I just think when, you get this, you didn't think you'd be having these type of conversations this early in the season. You think you did a great job recruiting. You think you've done a great job of building this football team. And, I thought, this year, just bringing the guys in that we brought in the beginning of the spring, last year we felt we had some unknowns, but then going into this year, we brought a lot more guys in the spring and had an opportunity to evaluate and see what they were all about. So, to us, it was a little bit, for me at least, it was a lot earlier than I thought we'd have to maybe even have these conversations. But, just some of the stuff we may have been doing, across the board, this is my 4th year, and we've had, I thought we'd be faster in certain things, and our guys thinking too much and not playing, and just things like that. Whether it's on offense, defense, and even special teams, right? Just trying to simplify some things to allow our guys to play fast. Because to the shock of a lot of people in 22 and 23, the reason why we played as fast as we didn't run very much. We let the guys play and let their athletic ability make up for any of the mistakes we may have had because of some of the calls that we had. So, we just kind of simplifying some things offensively, defensively, helps teams, maybe looking at some personnel things that we need to make sure that we have our best 11 on the field, regardless of the situation. And so, just was it a hard look? Yeah. Was it uncomfortable? No, because the some of the production that we've had, it wasn't what we wanted, right? So it wasn't necessarily tough, because I think when you look at that entire room, we all want to win, we all want success, and forget about the egos. We want to make sure that we do what we want to do what's best for this football team and the university.
Go ahead, Kelvin.
To that point, Coach, they say pressure busts pipe.
Yeah.
And when things are not going well, it's easy to lose focus and lose a team. Yeah. So what are you doing? How do you assess where your team mental psyche is right now, and in preparation to play a foe who, frankly, when they come in here, they got a head coach who has an edge, and if he can get an upper hand on you and he can put a big nim on you, he probably will try to put a big nim on you, and he'll tell you he's gonna do it. So from a competition standpoint, and just the emotion and feelings of the team, where are they, and what are you doing to make sure they where they need to be in order to win?
Well, I think I got a little edge myself, but I think we've done a great job with our graduates. Our seniors. We got about, like I said, 30 to 35 of them. We talk once a week, and just these last couple of weeks, there's just some things that we needed to make sure that we address with them. And I give them the floor a little bit too, right? We got guys that have won championships on this team, guys that have won SWAC championships, Celebration Bowl championships, and in my opinion, they earn the right to have a voice. So, if things aren't necessarily going the way they need to go, they have that opportunity to speak to me. And believe it or not, these last 2 Mondays, we've had a lot of conversation and about things that they think we may need to do a little bit better, things we need to fix, things that they like that we're doing, So, we have those conversations. We had about an hour and a half this past Monday. And then the Monday before, obviously, that we were getting ready for Mississippi Valley, we spent another 90 minutes just talking about things that we needed to address. So, there's no just, my door's closed and everything is right with me, man. I allow my players to communicate with me. We have captains, we have a leadership committee. So, having them and they, as they talk to me, I use them to kind of get the pulse, right? So, the conversation that we've had as we talked about either getting better or getting worse, because that's the only 2 things that can happen. We can't stay the same, right? So either we won't get better or we'll get worse. I wanted to make sure that the locker room was a finger pointing in any particular player or any particular coach. We just wanted to make sure we looked internally at ourselves to figure out what we needed to do ourselves to get better. And then once we can all get better, then collectively our team will get better.
Have you seen what you would like to see? Have the response been where you think it should be to that?
Well, I will say, being able to bring in some new stuff or maybe some, some things philosophically, and then having that buy definitely helped, because it did give us the opportunity to, we went 100% on the things that we fixed, right? So it did give us an opportunity to, hey, this didn't work. Maybe we could tinker with this or tinker with that. So, having, and then also, playing a team that didn't get a chance to look at what we may be doing right now, right? So that's also great. But it's looked good. It's looked good, and I think we're going in the right direction. Again, I think us knowing who we're playing definitely ramps it up a little bit as well, because as you mentioned, they're a good football team. They got a great quarterback, great running back. They've been extremely polished over the last 4 or 5 years, bringing home a championship and things like that. So I think the guys understand the challenge that we have, but. For the most part, I still think it's about us, thinking of making sure that we do what we need to do. And I like what I've seen. I like the guys, coming in to work every morning. And, there hasn't been any, in my opinion, any drop off as far as attitude, but again, we still got to show it on the field though.
Right. So the home games, it's sacred. And, I think that really roused Rattler Nation up more than anything.
Me too.
Losing at home, and especially the way we lost the last game.
Yep.
But my question centers around how, the one question I done heard a lot of people ask it a lot of different ways and so forth. I'm not going to ask it the same way, but it's similar. It's pretty much the same question. But what I want to know is, how do you determine during the game whether or not your substitution patterns, and specifically with the quarterback position, and who plays, who comes in, because you had one game where you had a game plan for a person to come in. You had another one where it wasn't planned, but the way the game went, person came in for a little bit. Then you had two games where you just rolled one guy. So do you have a actual strategy or plan with that?
Well, Coach Burris and I, we talk almost every day about that position, right? And
right.
And then we have our coordinators meetings that we have every Friday, and then we have what we call play the player meetings on Saturday. You know what I mean? So we go into detail about who's going to play, and obviously not just at that position,
right.
but that is one position that people do have a tendency to ask a lot about. But whether a guy's playing well, we'll talk, right? Well, if a guy's not playing well, we'll talk, and sometimes the person that's getting all the blame, right? It might not be that person, and so but do we talk? Absolutely. Do we talk at halftime? Absolutely. Do we talk every drive? No. But there are times where we have the ability to, whether we get on the other side of the headset or we meet each other, and and we talk 3 times a day about it, right? So I'll say this, in the beginning of the year when we made the decision of who the quarterback was going to be, we didn't want to necessarily have a quick trigger, right? Because we both know we had a training camp. We felt that we had a guy that we felt that was at that time, earned the job. So we didn't want to have a quick trigger, but we also felt that we did have a guy that we thought could also play well, because that guy, Jed, we thought played well as well throughout training camp, but at the time maybe didn't win the job, whatever the case may be. So, but do we communicate? We communicate every day, and during the game, I think maybe especially about that position, we'll go about 4 or 5 times, have a conversation. We're hoping not to have to talk every series. We're hoping that everything just flows and goes the way we want to go. But do we talk? Yes. And have we spoken? Yes. Do we talk at halftime? Yes. Do we talk during the game? Yes. And in that time, we make a decision, and then at times we don't, right? And try to go with what we feel at that time is the best option.
Okay.
Coach, let me stay there with the talk about quarterback position. What is it that you see from RJ? Because you obviously see him in practice way more than all of us do who watch the end result on game days, right? So what is it that you are seeing? Because it's I got to imagine it's got to be that tough balance between what we're seeing on game day, because he is being efficient. He's not turning the ball over, but at the same time, we look at the production, it doesn't equal up in terms of the points per game. But you must be seeing something in the practices. What is it that you see in practices that you like from what RJ provides? What is it that you see from the offense in practice that gives you the confidence and the belief to keep, saying, hey, this guy's going to get it done for us. And there's a level of confidence. And when you and Coach Burris talk, there's a reason why he's still in there taking the snaps.
Well, I mean, we see success throughout the week, right? I mean, again, it's been 3-4 weeks of just continued improvement, right? And everyone sees what happens on Saturday, and I think that when the guy goes through the week and goes through preparation, and it kind of just goes back, right? We've only played 4 games, and at the end of the day, right? We knew how the first game was going to turn out. We knew that because of his first game, it wasn't going to be the best output that we felt that he was going to have. So we kind of had to shape our game around, trying to be conservative, trying to make sure that he doesn't maybe lose the game as opposed to winning the football game for us, right? So we seen the consistency that we want? No. I mean, guy asked me, I think was it you that asked me, or was it Kelvin that asked me about what I thought the grade was? We thought maybe at this time we would maybe be further along. And we all have eyes, and we know what this offense is supposed to look like. And when I say the offense, I mean the FAMU offense is what it's supposed to look like, right? So but I mean I think when you go through it all and you look at maybe some of the mistakes and you look at maybe some of the things that we haven't gotten done, does it all fall on the quarterback? Everyone thinks it does, but it doesn't, and so, you maybe don't get me wrong. I mean, he'll be the first one to tell you he's missed a couple throws and maybe some opportunities for success, but it doesn't necessarily all fall on the quarterback, where, that's ultimately what people see. But I think this last couple of weeks, Jet Petty's done a really, really good job. RJ's done a really, really good job. Obviously, kind of, as far as us installing some new things, and in my opinion, I think gives them maybe a better opportunity to have success. And so we're excited about what we hopefully what we'll be able to do this upcoming Saturday.
This thought came to my mind as you were talking about that offense, and I feel like we have, and I've said this to other people, I feel like a lot of, and even your predecessor, I felt like had to deal with this. We're chasing the ghost of offensive production from 2 decades ago, where we understand what that offense was and the numbers that they put up, and it's like you're chasing ghosts. What is your vision for what you want offense to be? What is it that you want to see from your FAMU offense? What does that look like? Because I think everyone has a thought of, hey, we want it to look like what we saw back in the 90s, and I don't know if that's the reality, even with your predecessor. I don't think he even had to live up to trying to chase numbers that were put up, 20 years before him. So I'm just curious, what is your thought process and expectation for what this offense should look like from a production standpoint?
Well, I mean, we talk about recruiting, right? We went out, and in my opinion, went and got some big time receivers, whether they was in the portal. We got a bunch of slot. We got a couple slot guys, the Wilchers and the Rogers, that are guys that we think that we could put them in space and have success. So we felt that based on our recruiting that we want to get our guys in space. We want to be up tempo. We want to be fast. And having a great offensive line, and in my opinion, one of the best backs in the country, in Thad Franklin, that we would be able to kind of do whatever we wanted offensively. Like we had all of these goals, and we all the points we thought we'd be able to score, but at the end of the day, it comes down to execution. Do I want to be fast? Yes. Do I want to get our guys in space? Yes. But the consistency of the execution has to be able to allow us to do that. Right, because we have the speed. I think we have the players. In my opinion, we have the offensive line and do all those things. But for whatever reason, it just hasn't matched up, right? So so in recruiting, yes, get our athletes in space. Put the defense in what we call conflict, as far as whether they want to play the run or whether they want to play the pass, right? And I think that as we continue to move forward, we're slowly but surely trying to get there. But we're at a stage right now. We got to hurry up and get there. Because right now the just the point production. Coach Burris will tell you it's not what when we had our goal set and we looked at what we thought we were going to look like on offense and even defense. Our numbers we thought was going to be a lot different than where they may be at now. And then when you also look at the conference and all these points everybody's scoring, and then that only maybe elevates to where you think you need to be offensively, right? So that just. Again, I still think we're a very, very talented bunch. We're just not playing well as a team, and I just think that I think it's slowly but surely we'll get there. Coach Burris is, in my opinion, he's working night and day to try to get this thing going. And nobody's going home. We're trying to work our tails off to get this where it needs to be, and that's going to include all this talent that we have surrounding it. It's just right now we're doing it with 2 quarterbacks that haven't played a lot of college football. And that's just kind of the thing we thought may be an issue. It's just been a little bit of a bigger issue the first 4 games than we may have thought
of. Kelvin, before I throw it over to you, let me ask Coach one other question here, an offense-related question. Thad Franklin, he's averaging 5 a carry. Every game I look at, he's averaging 5 a carry. I mean, I'm looking at their backs in the conference who are touching the ball 20, doggone feels like close to 30 times. Yeah. How do we get Thad more touches? What is that? How does that happen? Or is there a goal? Is there hey, we want to get a certain number of touches for Thad, especially if he's averaging 5 a carry?
Well, I think the touches can come. I just think they may have to come at different times. Sometimes, right, we want to, early in the year, run the ball, stop the run. Those are all things that every coach says, I think, when you're trying to win championships. But maybe at different times, we may need to get him the ball at different times, right? I think when you look at our first 4 games and what we may have been on P and 10 and 1st and 10, those first downs and stuff like that, maybe that may be a time when we need to open that sucker up a little bit, right? And then try to maybe run a little bit later, right? So just kind of maybe giving them some different opportunities. At times, we're getting them the ball in the box, maybe be a little bit tighter or whatever the case may be, or maybe now we can spread them out. Who knows, right? I'm just saying, we need to get them the football for us to have success, but maybe it needs to be at different times as opposed to when we've been doing it, over the first 4 games.
Appreciate it. Go ahead, Kelvin.
So the other side of the coin, you can go glass half empty or glass half full. I'm going glass half full on this one, in that when you look at our schedule, in almost every way, we still control our destiny, particularly how the Jackson State-Alabama State game ends up playing out.
Yep.
If we went out, we still have a good chance.
Absolutely.
But the question is, do you and the coaches as a staff, how do you make sure your team understands that and not dwell on games that have happened? Because at this point, you can't do nothing about those games. But what you cannot do is repeat what you did bad those previous games. So how do you square the two?
Well, I think our guys, just like every other team in the conference, look at how everybody else is doing. So I don't think it's necessary for us to try to worry, or try to, look ahead or things like that, or even look back, right? I just, one of our guys mentioned that the parity in this conference, right? There's, you got some teams that are playing well enough to beat each other, and then you look on the other side, right? You got some teams playing well enough to beat each other. Last year, obviously Jackson State was 8-0, playing representing the East, and then you had a 5-3 or 4-4 Southern team on the other side, right? Where, for us, we if we don't play well, it won't matter anyway, right? So I think the biggest thing for us is obviously making sure we continue to improve and get better in all 3 facets of the game. But, you obviously, we haven't played Jackson State yet. Yes, we have played Alabama State. Got an opportunity based on this weekend, right? We can get ourselves right back in it if we play well enough to beat the Jackson State on November 1st, right? But you can't worry about all the teams in the conference. You got to take care of what we need to take care of. But, we still got 7 more to play. And we got 7 more to play. 7-1 can get you in the SWAC championship game, right? But 4-4 won't. 5-3, right. We saw last year 5-3 won't. You know what I mean? So, you got to take care of what you got to take care of. But, if we don't improve, right, and get better as a team, right, it doesn't matter. So we got to take care of what we got to take care of. Yeah, in human nature, you're going to play your game, win, lose. You're going to naturally look at the scoreboard, right, of all the other games that are playing in the conference. So I don't have to do anything. I think our guys are doing a lot of that after we play. But, just taking care of what we need to take care of, I think, is going to be the most important thing. But I just, I have a sneaky feeling, that there's going to be some losses on this side this year, and if that's the case, then, that puts us right in the spot, But if somebody goes 8-0, then we don't go, but I personally feel a 7-1 can get you out of this conference and have you representing the East in the SWAC championship game.
Okay.
I was going defensively, from the defensive side, Coach. Are you satisfied from the style of defense that we're seeing, in terms of the amount of pressure, what we're getting from our front 7? Are you pleased with what you're seeing, or how much more improvement can we see this weekend against North Carolina Central?
Well, we've been without, in my opinion, the best defensive player in the conference. We've been without Westmoreland all year, and obviously, still at that time, we're still going to be without him, right? So, he was a guy, in my opinion, that you thought was going to have to put pressure on his own, right? He'd be able to do that on his own. So, when we get to Howard, right, we've had to kind of, try to, add some people to the fold to add pressure. And then for the most part, I thought we did a really, really good job with that, right? So, but now, we got 4 games, right? So, you look at a North Carolina Central team, they're looking at our first 4 games, and they're seeing us as a defense. Hey, they do a lot of pressure. They put a lot of one high. They have a tendency to put their corners on an island every once in a while. So, we've taken note of that, and hopefully what we're getting ready to do this upcoming weekend can maybe offset some of those things that we have shown the first 4 games. And that was the plan, because in the past we weren't a pressure team, and I think that might have given us a little bit of an advantage. But we played 4 games. We've had some things where some coverages may not have been what we needed them to be. So again, going back, I didn't just talk to the offensive coaches about simplifying some things. Talk to the defensive staff as well, man. We've been a defense that played fast, right? And no matter what, we were still simple and sound. But at the end, we were playing at a lightning speed, right? So we need to get back to doing that, and that might not necessarily be in man-to-man all the time, but at times in our defense, right, we can force a man-to-man by putting pressure on the quarterback in different ways, not by sending people, but just using our front 4. So do we need to make changes? Absolutely. I know when we played Alabama State, giving them short fields and stuff like that's not a good recipe for the type of offense that we had. But we were also in a game where 4th and 2, 4th and 3, I had the utmost confidence in our offensive side of the football that we were going to get first down, right? Knowing that it turned, we needed to score points. So, but on the other side, they stopped us. Sudden change, that's something that we talk about and work on all the time. And just because they have a short field, it doesn't mean they have to score.
I don't know, Kelvin, if you had another question. I was going to ask, Coach, did you ever, and I missed this post game, what was the clarification that you got, if any, regarding was it the fair catch? I don't know if we talked about this on our show, but I just wondered, did you get a clarification on the fair catch situation from the Alabama State game?
They did. I mean, the spirit. There's the rule and there's the spirit of the rule, right? The spirit of the rule is you don't want anybody to make any hand gestures that the kickoff team would seem as someone's making a fair catch. Right, so any hand movement, back in the day, you had to do that, right? Well, now on kickoff, the guys used to, they used to do they could put their arms out to signal fair catch, and you don't have to catch the football. So, but they went away with that. So now any hand gesture is considered a fair catch, right? So that and when I went by on the iPad, you see our guy turn around, and you guys know we'll get what you call a me, or you call based on where the ball's in the air, and that's what we did. We went me, right? Our returner goes me. Justin Bostic, who got the penalty, just turned around and gave the arm to just confirm that he heard it. You know what I mean? It wasn't anything relegated or even close to it being a fair catch, but he did use his hand to do so. Now, Coach Weston, who's very, very studious, he saw another 9 or 10 football games where they did the exact same thing. And every time they did it, no call was made. So, could be a conference thing, could be and I trust me, the spirit of the rule is for people faking fair catches and making teams stop running down the field. But, we talk communication. We talk about confirming the communication. I just don't think at that time, obviously putting us at the 5-yard line, isn't ideal, and you got to watch it, right? We call it managing the game, and if I'm watching that play 100 times, I'm seeing a guy confirm that a you call, not trying to fake a fair catch. So that's what they said. They thought he simulated a fair catch. I disagreed, and then obviously you see it other places, right? And they didn't call it, but yet in the SWAC it was called.
But Coach, I'm no rules expert, but even in that situation of calling a fair catch, from everything I read and saw, they said it says the ball should have been put at the 25. That's the part that even. Okay.
I'm with you. Trust me, I would have loved to have had that drive start at the 25. Your calls are different when you're going from the 5, right? I mean, just
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
And when he tells me any hand gestures, and then I go on the iPad and I see him make the hand gesture, But we've been coaching it. We coach me, you, and we've, believe it or not, we've done it on about 5 or 6 other occasions. We've done it. So if somebody would have, and we've had SWAC officials before and have done it. So if you would have told us this earlier, then maybe we can adjust or fix it, right? But to do it, and then one time it gets called, that's where the frustration lies. And we did the same thing against Howard. We did Albany State scored twice. We did the same thing. We had SWAC officials. We did the same thing again with Albany State. Did the same exact thing. So to get it called at that time, obviously it's a tough pill to swallow, and obviously the frustration. But I'm trying to stay in the football game, and we just have to get, my guess, coach it better. So that situation shouldn't happen again.
So my question, Coach, is about game management, because there have been chatter, from when using timeouts, and when you're using timeouts, how aggressively you want to challenge the officials during games with certain calls. Time management, where you try to speed up at the end of halves, the first half at least anyway, and try to, put yourself in scoring position, kicking field goals, 4th downs.
Yep.
I mean, is it just total feel for you?
No, not at all. I mean, we have what we call a play the player meeting that we do every, the morning before every game. And in that play the player meeting, it's just that we talk about who's going to play, how much they're going to play, who's going to start, how much playing time we want to give our backups, right? Stuff like that. But we also touch on end of half situations, end of game situations, right? And then, it's when we talk about end of half, right? It's a lot of things that we talk about is how we're playing, right? Where we are in the game, let's say it's offensively, right? And, we had Alabama State, we got the ball with like 20 seconds left, and hopped on the headset. Hey, man, we're going to take it in, right? We got the ball. I think we got the ball. Alabama State had fumbled. They fumbled the ball, and we got the ball back at the 25. We had 26 seconds left. We didn't necessarily want to take any chances because we were getting the ball in the third quarter, right? So we talk about different situations in that meeting, when we want to maybe go, when we maybe want to get points, when we want to just take it to the half, right? So there are a lot of different factors based on what we look at, how many timeouts. The reason why we kneeled against Alabama State was it was 14-6. We did have timeouts, but we were getting the ball, right? We were getting the ball in the second half, and we didn't, we just not thinking about having to go 75 yards to try to get some points, right? But if we would have been maybe close to the 50, had our timeouts, probably would have had a little bit of a different conversation. But we generally talk about all those situations. So whether we're on offense or defense, we call it, an end of half plan, end of game plan. So we touch on those. Now the timeouts, we talk about when we want to use timeouts. Like when do we want to use timeouts on offense, right? Hey, we don't want something that's going to kill a drive. We never want to have. We'll always call a timeout if we have too many on the field. Just so we got times when we want to call timeout. Well, let me get back. There are times we don't want to call timeout, but if it's going to hurt a drive or it's going to affect the drive, we have to burn one. And I'll give you an example. We had one against Howard at about the 10-yard line. It actually happened right in front of me. We had the ball at the 10-yard line. It was either second down and goal or third down and goal. And our tight end wasn't lined up on the ball. We didn't have enough on the ball. You know what I mean? So no matter what we ran that play, we could have scored a touchdown and we could have got yardage, right? At that time, and to me, it was it was too important not to get a penalty at that time. So I burned the timeout. Hey, our tight end wasn't on the ball. We were gonna, the play, everything we ran wasn't gonna count. So I burned the timeout. So in our play the player meeting, that was an opportunity for me to say to them, this is why I call timeout, because the play wasn't going to count. We didn't want to have a penalty of that magnitude. Right now, there's times when we have punt return. There's been a time we had punt return on the field, and we only had 10. Right, that's the time for me. Hey, we already know we're going to automatically get a fair catch. Right, we ain't burning no timeout on that. We're gonna go to what we call a check fake. Back everybody up, automatic fair catch. That's not a time on punt return to burn a timeout. But if we're punting the football and we only got 10, guess what I'm going to do? We're going we're going to burn a timeout because there's a likelihood of us not having enough to protect. So there's different scenarios when we'll burn timeouts. There's different scenarios, that, if it's going to hurt a drive or some sort, we'll burn timeouts. But believe me, we have discussions about when and when not to burn timeouts, when and when not to extend drives or, end of half or end of game and, have general conversations about what we may need to do at those individual times.
Okay, one last one for me, Bryan, and I'm done. Leadership.
Yep.
And I'm talking about leadership specifically with the teams.
Mm-hmm.
So, real quick story. When I was and the people have heard me say this story before, at least once during the summer this year, but I want to share with you real quick, Coach. So, I was in the Navy. I went to the boot camp. The senior chief, who was he was a first-time drill sergeant, what we call a company commander, and he decided before we even got on campus, to the barracks, that he was going to select his company leaders based on ASVAB scores. So we get there, we have what they call a push company. So we're not going to do the full 8 weeks, going to do about 7.5 weeks. It's probably the most diverse company that they ever had. Okay. And you got all these leaders that he had selected before we got there. And we ended up being out of like 16 companies, top. We were second. We finished second, barely. And so after we graduated, and we were headed to our schooling, the senior chief comes up to me. He said, "Rosie, you taught me something." I said, "What's that, senior chief?" He said, I had made a decision, and this was my first time around, and I decided, to choose the leaders of this platoon before I even saw who was in the room, and I had my mind set up. He said, "But what you taught me was, out of all those leaders, when I went around, nobody followed them. They all followed you. So the next time, with my second class, when they come in, I'm not going to make that mistake. I'm going to go ahead and wait till they get here and see who has those qualities and skills in which people will follow." I'm telling that story because I also made a mistake when I used to coach high school football. Right. I had a young man who was a great player. Relied on him for a lot. But we were playing our most important game, our rival, and he gets to open the kickoff, and he fumbles.
Right.
I said, "Hey, man, you got to tighten up. It's important. You got to value the ball." And so he's messing around with his hand a little bit, but he ain't really say nothing was wrong. So the team ended up scoring because they had a short field, kick it right back off, send him right back out there. He fumbles again. So this time he comes to the sideline. He said, "Coach, my hand's kind of numb. I'm not feeling it." And so this is in the 90s, Coach, early 90s at that, where, you try to tough things out and, where is it broke? Is it, you wrap it up? Let's see what's going to happen. So third time he went out there, he fumbled again. I had an epiphany, Coach.
Right. That
epiphany was, hey, maybe this man hand hurt and he shouldn't go out there again. And he didn't. And we didn't fumble again, and we ended up scoring. So the point of both of those stories is, if anybody who's ever been in charge of anything, you don't always get it right. And sometimes you're a little slow in reacting to but if you learn the lesson, if you learn the lesson then and make the changes that need to be made, then you don't have all is not lost, right? You can continue to grow. And that's all I wanted to say, Coach.
But I appreciate it. I mean, I think when you think of the leadership of the team, right, you obviously want everything to be player led. And, if a coach has to do it, right, then, it doesn't necessarily come across the way you may want it to come across, right? I think that right now, when you look at our team, we're still trying to find out who those leaders are going to be. Who's going to call that meeting on the sideline and be, "Hey, man, let's get this thing together," right? What's going to happen on this play, and get a guy get that group that's going to pull that offense together or pull that defense together, and those are things again where you if it's a coach doing it, it doesn't necessarily ring as well as you would want a player when he does. I get a chance to talk about the 23 team, right? You know, our offensive leader was number 8. Our defensive leader was number 0, bar none, right? We didn't have to necessarily worry about when it was going to get done, how it was going to get done, or whatever the case may be, right? So, you know, so last year, you know, it was our other number 0, James Ash, and then it was Kelvin Dean last year, right? So, you know, it's again, played 4 games, right? You know, and again, I don't think we are where we want to be. I know we are, right? But I do know that we, again, having that bye week for us, I think helped us, you know, in more ways than one. Got a chance to get ourselves, like I said, a little bit more healthy, but also got a chance to just, again, like I've mentioned it a few times, just making a hard reset, you know, about where we need to be offensively, defensively, and special team wise. And you know, hey, you know, I want us to play fast. If we play fast, that means we're getting ourselves where we need to get to. And I think for the most part, we've made the appropriate changes. The only thing about it is that, you know, you got to wait till Saturday to see it, and then see if it did go where it needed to go. But the guys are working hard. You know, there's been no fallback with our players. Right. They consistently are continuing to work hard. We've had some really, really good practices, but I got to tell them, well, we can be great, but it's going to boil down to Saturday. So and that's mean playing together, communicating, executing, and doing the things that we need to do.
Awesome.
Coach, we appreciate your time tonight. We know you, the staff, the guys are all working every week, every day trying to get a little bit better than the previous day. Every week trying to get better than the previous week. We see that we see what you guys are working, and those who have coached, we know what you're going through, because not all of us have had perfect winning seasons every year. We've all dealt with tough patches, and we know what it's like. We know what the pressure is like. We know the loss of sleep and everything that goes with it. So, you know, praying for you, Coach, and we got your back, Coach. So just keep grinding. We know what to come together.
I appreciate it. You know, give me the heat. Don't leave the players alone. You know, trust me. I mean, everybody's working their tail off, man. We know what it's supposed to look like. Obviously, I've been here, you know, when we raised the trophy and know what it's supposed to look like. But understand that we ain't settling. Trust me when I say this how we played last Saturday at home. Completely unacceptable. We know we need to be better, and that's from top to bottom. And I think I know we'll play our best game this upcoming Saturday.
Appreciate you, Coach. Thank you for your time, and we'll see you. We'll see you on Saturday.
Appreciate it, Brian. Don't keep Kelvin up too late, okay? He look like he about to fall asleep over there.
I got you. I'll make sure we end at a good time tonight. Thank you, sir.
I'll see you guys, man. Appreciate y'all.
All right, Coach.
All right, there he is, Coach James Colzie III, checking in with us. We'll take a short break, come back and react. I know a lot of you have questions, kind of tell you, our thoughts on some of the questions and just some of the thoughts, and we'll get a chance to break it all down here. Also, we'll get a chance to talk about Men and Women's Media Day. We've got some video live from SWAC Media Day yesterday and today, courtesy of Roy Evans and our BCSN Game Time show. So we'll have that for you, those segments coming up right on the other side. Hang tight. You're watching O&G StrikeZone right here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be back in just a moment.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Planning an event? From weddings to corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC brings over 15 years of experience to make your vision a reality. Based in Metro Atlanta and serving statewide, even internationally, we provide versatile event planning and authentic catering cuisines tailored to your needs. Whether it's pre-game meals for student athletes, fundraisers, weddings, corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC is your one-stop solution for exceptional service and unforgettable food. Our diverse culinary heritage means we cater to all cultural tastes, dietary needs, and food restrictions, making every meal uniquely yours. Let's make your next event unforgettable. Visit us on all social media at CMJ Events LLC or email us at cmjeventsllc@gmail.com. Also give us a call at 404-664-3882 so that we can start planning now.
College football fans, a champion will rise in Atlanta on December 13th. MEAC champion, SWAC champion, the 10th Cricket Celebration Bowl, crowning an HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and parenting education coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
ESPN Events presents Red Lobster Band of the Year. Returning to Atlanta on December 12th, 4 bands will qualify for the big stage, where 2 national champions will be crowned. Follow us for rankings updates throughout the season, and join us on December 12th. For event and ticket information, visit bandoftheyear.com.
All right, welcome back to the O&G StrikeZone. Bryan and Kelvin here. All right, Kelvin, let's kind of recap a conversation there with Coach. I know a lot of people got their. I've seen some. I've seen the comments, so yeah. I got folks throwing Charmin rolls at us.
Hey,
and,
I ain't never soft. Don't ever call me that. But no, man. I mean, I thought Coach was stand-up guy. He came on. He saw some of the comments too.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. He sees it. He can see all the comments and questions, guys. So trust me, it was all visible for him.
Yeah, but I will say that there's a certain level of professionalism that I'm going to maintain, and I know Bryan is going to maintain. And at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. He wants it, you want it, we want it. We want to win.
Exactly.
So ain't nobody gonna give you what the playbook is, when the next quarterback is gonna come in. You ain't gonna get that kind of detail. So I find it more meaningful to actually ask things that you're gonna get. Well, you can understand the insight, the thinking behind some of the things. That's why I asked about the game management. We asked about 2 or 3 questions sitting around the quarterback and the decision to when you're gonna rotate people in and out, and so I think we hit all the points we wanted to hit, but I just think we did it in a professional, non-controversial way.
I wanted to address something. Some people thought my question about chasing ghosts. Yeah, I don't know. Some people may not have understood what I was getting at, or maybe where I was going with that thought. There are a number of different ways in which you can win a ball game. Every coach has a different philosophy and mindset on how to win a game. There are some coaches who will be okay with a low-scoring game because they are building a defense and want their defense to be a certain thing, and they want to run the ball. I just think that ever since the 45-point per game average that we had during the Joe era, every offense that FAMU has had has been looked at from that prism. It was I hate to say this, Kelvin, if you go back and look at the statistics, it was an anomaly amongst FAMU football because the coach before, Coach Joe, wasn't putting up those kind of numbers. And the coaches...
Al Riley?
The coaches after, I'm just saying, but the coaches after short of Willie Simmons getting close to, and even what Willie Simmons was doing wasn't even touching, even sniffing what Billy Joe.
No, we was only averaging 28. We couldn't we couldn't get over that 30.
Exactly. We would always talk about that. And so my point was, I think, look, I get that 14, we're averaging 17 points a game. I get it. That's low. We understand, right? Okay. I'm not trying to shake that. I'm not trying to shake a tree and tell you guys anything that you don't know. We are allowing 33 points a game. That's probably more troubling than anything, right? And one is from an FCS team and one is from an FBS team. If you threw out the FBS game, we'd probably still be in the high 20s, probably, right? Mm-hmm. So that is probably the thing. And I just feel like the point production and offense that we're wanting, we haven't had yet. Now, maybe we have the weapons for it, but there's got to be and so my point in asking Colzie that question was, just really to kind of get to a point of saying, what offense does he want? Because maybe Colzie wanted to run more. Maybe he wants more ball control. Because, again, we talked about it at the end of last year. I mean, we have a guy on this team who's running 5 yards a carry. When we see this running back come in from North Carolina Central, go look at the stats on what he's running per game, right? Go look at the stats. And hell, Alabama State, after they ran 300 on us, they ran 388 on Bethune. Their goal is probably going to be, they're going to try to run 300 against Jackson State this weekend. I mean, that's where my question about the ghost came from. Let's bring in Marcus, because Marcus is in the building. Marcus able to kind of join us. Let's see how much of the interview he caught. Kelvin, I'll give you a chance to kind of jump in there and tell me I'm crazy for talking about ghosts. I don't know how much of that did you catch, Marcus?
I saw the whole interview. I was able to get on about 8:30 while I was driving. But okay. I did hear the entire interview, and your question I think is on point. And I think just about every coach who's come after Coach Billy Joe, anybody who's around in the 90s is chasing that ghost, because that's what fans are wanting and trying and hold. That's the frame of reference for the offense. And even Coach Simmons, with relative few occasions, and I'm thinking maybe the NC Central game in, I want to say 2018, 2019, somewhere in that time frame, and a couple of others, nobody's really come close on a consistent basis to doing what 97, 98, 99 FAMU did, or even 2000. So a lot of coaches are chasing that ghost. So that's a fair question. And having to chase that versus establishing your own offense, whatever that is the specter that's looming over the shoulders. Now, we're not scoring enough points because, we scored 9 against Howard, 14 against Alabama State, and the 14 against FAU was in garbage time. So it's like,
and to that point, real quick, to that point, when we score those points in the first half, we ain't scoring jack hardly.
Yes, yes, and I did see coaches question the entire question about it, and I guess my questions were, and he kind of answered it a little bit, but I would ask, why is it in game 4 we're still having to reevaluate who needs to be on the field if we've had preseason, practice, and 4 games? And that's not just any one position, because I think even going into the Alabama State game, Coach Colzie did say, we have to look at some positions and see, put the best 11 out there. And I guess he kind of answered it that some people aren't performing the way that they thought. So yeah, that's one thing. But, for the whole, if you're looking at that many positions, then it would seem to be broader than someone not performing up. Either you have multiple people not performing up to expectations, or there was a misevaluation somewhere, or something has changed. Yeah. And it's like I heard you guys mention, and I thought about it the last 2 weeks. Other than Valley, and even then they had, pretty decent scoring against Southern early in the season. Everybody in the East is scoring except for us. So it's like, something has got to change, or it's going to get ugly. And the defense, and I guess my perspective, and I thought about it this week during the bye week. If we had the 2002, 2003 defense and the current offensive play, that would be one thing, because we would be holding people out the end zone. And I'm saying that to say, so far, the quarterback play in general has reminded me of, I want to say 2000 era Ravens and maybe the Bucs team that won the Super Bowl. I guess that was 2002. Where the defense was just nasty, and the offense, they I guess coined the phrase game manager, because it wasn't really taking a lot of chances and it wasn't high scoring. It was more opportunistic and making sure you don't turn over the ball. And the caveat with us is we don't have that once in a lifetime or once in a generation defense to kind of, so the offense can get cranked and going. So now we're getting it from both ends. So something's going to have to change really soon if we want to have a modicum of some kind of decent season.
Tony, any other questions in there? I saw Tony ask the question about who is our weapon. That's a great point, Tony. Who is our weapon? I don't think he had a weapon establish himself. Yeah.
Right. It's hard to judge because the play calling has either been conservative, we go 3 and out so much, or it's so predictable. Like someone mentioned about, and that's why, that was the 220 Club earlier that I was watching where they brought up. And that's why I think Coach was referencing about when we run, when you talked about that and his carries and the 5-yard average. I wholeheartedly agree with that point. Running first down zone read almost 65-70% of the time on first down is not a recipe for success long term, because it's going to put you behind the sticks most of the time. You got to show some diversity. Even if you run in the zone read, you got to pull it sometimes and throw a quick slant or hot route or just switch it up. I mean, because at the end of the day, we're not productive enough to win games, and that's the bottom line. You got to be productive enough to win games.
Now I just see 220 Club. Were there any revelations? Okay,
I didn't see it either. Just a lot of comments related to the questions. So I don't know what kind of smoke was being thrown, or what kind of heat, fireballs, fastballs were being thrown.
Well, Bryan, one thing I've learned from my mother-in-law and my wife, and I think I mentioned this to you guys before. After a certain age, I don't know, 65 or older,
they don't care.
They don't care. They'll say whatever. Now, my mother-in-law is not a spitfire, but she'll give her opinion. It'll be nice and Christian-like, but she'll give her opinion. And it's like, okay, at a certain age, you just like throw it out there, like, what you gonna do to me? So I'd imagine walking to the 220 Club is like a whole room full of people who feel that same way, and have some insight into the how things should run in athletics, and or ties to the university from having worked there for a long time or knowing a lot of people. So it's like walking into a lion's den.
Yeah, it's like walking the green mile. Walking the mile. When things are bad, yeah.
I saw the just kind of looking ahead here into what North Carolina Central is bringing to the table. They're averaging on 6 games played so far, averaging 34.7 points a game. Their defense, though, is allowing 29.3.
Yeah, a lot.
Well, Bryan, to counter that, they're allowing 29. Have we exhibited a capability to? Well, we did against Albany State, but on a consistent basis, with play calling, getting part of playmakers, whatever the case may be.
We've only had 4 games, though. We've only had 4. See, this is the hard part about comparing. They're halfway through their season. we're a third of the way through ours. We've only played 4 games, right? And one of those games, can we really evaluate anything from ourselves in an FBS game? Yeah, maybe some people may want to evaluate some things, but even if we threw that game out, then you'd say we're only a third or a quarter into our schedule. So, I mean, I understand, and I may not be of this same mindset in 2-3 weeks. So I hope I'm allowed to have a different thought in 2 to 3 weeks if we are still who we look like we are now. But this isn't a finished product. This isn't even a returning team. That's the part that I know is hard.
You are what your record say you are.
Yes,
at this
we
point.
are what our record says we are.
Now, if something changed, then then good. But as of right now, we're a 1-3 team.
2-2 could be 2-2.
No, we are a 1-3 team.
But we can easily be 2-2.
No, that ain't what we do here.
But see, that's not fair. That's not fair to do that.
Fair. That's fair.
It's not.
Because it happened on the scoreboard. It happened on the field. This ain't no participation trophy. No, bro.
We should. Well, we had the opportunity to be 2-2, but we're not. So, and I'm not, throwing the baby out with the bathwater and all this stuff. But when you just look at it, it's like,
you can't.
What's going to change?
Yeah, you can't get better until you acknowledge that you need to get better, right? You can't get well, when you're sick. You can't get well talking about you sick. You got to take the medicine. So in this case, we 1-3. We haven't done good enough to win more than one game at this point in our season. And we look how we look. That's why I did the glass half full thing with Coach. But hey, we got 7 more games. We kind of still control our own destiny. We can change that narrative. But today, Wednesday,
Marcus, how many returning starters? Marcus, how many returning starters do we have coming back?
Nobody. It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. It does. Somebody's asking.
Alabama State got new coaches. They got new players too.
Marcus, how many? What does our numbers look like in terms of returns?
Stop it.
I don't know. I have to go look at it. But regardless of how many we have returning, we're still 1-3. Yeah. So,
I'm
not casting. I'm not saying the season is lost. Right. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying right now at this point.
But many of our viewers are saying that the season is lost at 1-3. They are, and so, I understand. Look, if you want to have that kind of pessimistic view based on what you've seen from 4 games, okay, I get it.
4 games is enough to make an assessment now.
Huh?
4 games is enough to make an assessment of what you see. If nothing else changes, right? All you can judge is you can't project what's going to happen.
Big if, right?
It ain't exactly. It ain't if. It's what the 4 games we played ain't an if. It has happened.
You were saying you said this Saturday. I was saying if you don't see the change this Saturday, and that's what I'm saying.
I'm saying you don't predict on ifs. You predict on what you see. When you're a bad man, you do those odds and stuff.
Probability.
That's based on math and science now.
All right.
No, we're not trying to argue you down. We're all optimistic.
No. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, I don't have any, I'm okay with I've been wrong before and I'll be wrong again somewhere down the line. And sometimes I'll be right. It is what it is. I'm just giving my perspective.
That's what I told Coach. None of us get it right all the time. So you just got to you got to pivot though. You got to make the adjustment though. That's the key.
Well, All right. Any other do we want to talk anything about before we, because I like I said, I want us to lay out some time here to talk about basketball and the media day stuff, but do we want to get into now talking about just flashing a few things related to this upcoming game while it's in front of us, since we're here at this point? Since we're at Central? This point in the show.
What, yeah. Central? Yeah, I mean, what you mean? Like, yeah, go ahead. Let's do that.
All right. Obviously, the particulars on this game coming in, Trey Oliver, 6th year. This is a team that's been either first or second in the MEAC over the last 4 years, I think. We know the key players. I think what's been, I was trying to look at their statistical numbers from a leading standpoint. Chris Mosley is the running back right now for North Carolina Central.
He's a man.
Yeah. Let me pull up the numbers here. In 6 games, he's rushed for 607 yards, a 5.8 yards per carry average, averaging 101.2 a game. Second leading rusher in the conference, but that's only because he played one less game than the young man from Delaware State who's rushed one more game than him. I think what's been most impressive about Central, it seems like they have found themselves. They had a stretch right after they won that MEAC SWAC Challenge where they put a beating on Southern, and then it was like they kind of lost themselves. I thought they played a couple of games in which they really got. I thought they got taken out behind the woodshed, honestly. Let me pull up those scores previously, where they lost to Old Dominion. Hold on, let me pull it up here. I got it. They lost to New Hampshire 27-10 at home. Then they lost 54-6 to North Carolina Central. And then they found themselves over the last 3 games, averaging scoring over 40, almost 50, averaging over 50 points a game in the last 3 weeks. That's included Fayetteville State, Division II opponent, North Carolina A&T, their rival, and then going over to East Tech. Might as well. And then East Texas A&M. So they have played
D2.
Come on, East Texas is not D2, but I get what you're saying. So if you look at the competition that they played, I'm sure you could scoff at it, but
they winning.
They've gotten right. They've gotten right against the teams they need to get right with, and this is their last non-conference game. So
and they're coming off an open week too.
Open week. So this is a game in which and then after us, look,
they got another open week.
They got another bye. Exactly. So this isn't even a look ahead spot. This is a measuring stick game.
No, we gonna get their best. Absolutely.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a measuring stick game. Oh yes, we're gonna get their best. They're gonna measure themselves up against us, and they're gonna try to put a foot in our tail.
It's a MEAC SWAC game, so it's conference pride on the line. They saw what happened just a couple of weeks ago with Alabama State. They're gonna try to beat us worse than that. So Rattlers got to show up. The team, coaches, everybody got to show up, and they got to come together. Wonder Twin, activate. Boy, I showed my age with that one, didn't I?
You did. Yes, you did. What's 1 or 2 things, Marcus and Kelvin, that you hope that we have learned from our last outing or maybe the last couple outings, something that you don't want to see us replicate in this game against Central?
Say that again, Bryan.
I got mine too.
I was just kind of thinking about what are one or two things that you hope that we don't replicate in this game, something that you've seen, whether it be the last game against Alabama State, maybe the last couple games, could be the whole season, something that you don't want to see us replicate against North Carolina Central. Marcus.
Slow starts. I go first. Slow starts. I've been harping on that all year. We got to score some points in the first quarter. I mean, in the first half, and I'm talking about 14 to 20 at least. All right, so slow starts, number one, and just being honest and frank. I want to see a different quarterback. I do.
Okay. Marcus?
I'd like to, and I don't know, I guess the question you or Kelvin asked earlier about what kind of offense you want to see is kind of aligned with what I'm thinking, but I want to see a little bit more creativity or just something that's unexpected.
When you say creativity, you mean what? More motion, more
well, I'm not getting. I'm just
what kind of
something that's less predictable, or something that I don't know. Even I know it's too late to like change your offensive set, but something that's a little bit more open. And I've never, I'm not like I want to score 50 a game and all this. I've never been like that. But what we're produced so far hasn't put us in any kind of competitive level outside of Albany State, and that was nip and tuck, and that was, really, really close. That's the first thing. A little bit more creativity, even whether it's using the running backs. I know we have some flares out in the flat and all this type of thing, but I mean, just a little bit more creativity. We probably have it. I don't know if we just unleashed it for whatever reason because either newness of the quarterback and familiar with the system. That's one thing. The second thing is the defense. I mean, Alabama State, they got a juggernaut offense. They're showing that, with the one missing ingredient they've been lacking the last 4 years when they had a defense. Albany State came in and put some points on the board. And we were, very fortunate between their special teams and their offense that showed a lot of creativity and motion and things of that nature that, we were able to secure that victory. So the defense in terms of playing peer groups, other than the game against Howard, and that was the first game for everybody, and they had a brand new quarterback. They're breaking in as well. But against peer competition, the defense hasn't really shown as much as we would have expected coming into the season.
They could use a little help, though. As Coach mentioned, against Alabama State, going for it on fourth down, 2 or 3 times, and giving that short field. Yeah, that didn't help them.
4 times.
Yeah, and it kind of looked like we were wearing down.
Yeah.
In the heat, that we were, wanting to wear them down, and it seemed like it kind of backfired a little bit.
That for me is one thing I hope I don't see repeated again, that field position thing. I hope that while I understand that first one, but even some of those other ones, I would have just rather punted. I don't even understand the first one, but okay. In hindsight,
go ahead.
In hindsight, I know why it was done, but I still would have rathered us punt the ball, even if we pinned them deep. Worst, it comes out to the 20. Maybe we're lucky and we can sail it towards the end of the sideline. But I hope that's something that we decide and say, you know what? Let's play field position, but be better and not. See, I think Central is going to be similar to Alabama State in that you can't give this team a short field.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot give this team a short field, and so if we stumble in between the 40-yard lines, man, just punt the ball. Or hey, take a 5-yard penalty and then punt the ball. The way it backs up the punter a little bit, run more clock, whatever it is. I just don't want us to try to go for it on 4. If it's 4th and 1, and you get the itch, maybe. But given our play calling, 4th and 1 would make me nervous. Given the play calling, I'm like, I don't even know about running it on 4th and 1. Because, so I would just rather go ahead and punt it and try to pin them in and make them have to beat us going 70, 80 yards down the field. But we can't beat this team if they only have to travel 50 yards. It's like, really? I mean, that's beating a dead horse. I'm with you on the play calling thing. It's the formations that bother me. It is. I mean, I watch and I know Kelvin, we're doing our post game.
Yeah,
we got to do something different with our formation and our motion. I don't know. I've watched 2 teams consecutive weeks come in here into Bragg and run multiple formations, and maybe it may be simplistic and they run the same thing, but I tell you what, there's a difference when they shift guys left to right. There's a guy in motion every set. Somebody's moving, and it works because somebody gets caught sleeping like we did, and guys end up going. So I hope Coach Burris is able to mix that in a little bit in this game. I don't know, the defensive stuff. The only thing defensively, I just wish we could put more pressure on Walker Harris. I just hope we don't let Walker Harris sit back there and pick us apart. Because Jesus, I think he will. If we don't get any pressure on him, he will sit back there and pick us apart.
He's capable.
He is very capable of doing it. Yeah. All right.
We're gonna say predictions and all that for later.
Yeah, let's save it.
Okay.
Yeah, let's save it. Not really sure what that'll look like. I got it during the clips where we're showing the SWAC Media Day stuff. I may have to really think about the bold predictions and what that might look like. This is going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
Coming up after the break, we're going to play some of the video from SWAC Basketball Media Day, where our Lady Rattlers and on Wednesday, no, what day is it? Tuesday. On Tuesday, Coach Bridget Gordon and a pair of her players spoke with Roy Evans of the Black College Sports Network during Media Day. And then we'll get into a little conversation, and then we'll play the video from Coach Charlie Ward and the men. So it'll be a basketball segment coming up, and then we'll close out the show with looking at the SWAC schedule ahead, make our bold predictions, take a look and see what volleyball, I mentioned it earlier in the show, volleyball's, had a tough loss today against Bethune-Cookman, but they've got 2 coming up on Sunday and Monday, I believe. So that'll be up ahead. So hang tight. Appreciate all you guys. Hit the thumbs up and the like button. Appreciate those of you who already have. Much appreciated. And we'll be back right after these words. You're watching the O&G StrikeZone right here on the Black College Sports Network. When we come back from the break, it'll be Roy Evans with Coach Bridget Gordon and the Lady Rattlers from SWAC Media Day on Tuesday.
fans, the Cricket Celebration Bowl is celebrating 10 years of crowning an HBCU national champion. A champion will rise at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on December 13th as the MEAC and SWAC champions clash in Atlanta. Join us for championship football, interactive fan experiences, and iconic marching bands. It's an HBCU family reunion that you don't want to miss. See who will be crowned the next HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a stance, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU.
With over 25 years of serving our communities, Destiny Financial Services, a division of Global Life, is here to help you and your family through difficult times. From cancer care to accidental industries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life, but you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call DFS at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at www.globelifeinsurance.com. That is 877-300-8269, or again, the website at www.globelifeinsurance.com.
ESPN Events presents Red Lobster Band of the Year, a title reserved for elite HBCU marching bands. A season-long competition that culminates in Atlanta on Friday, December 12th. Drum majors, percussion, drill, auxiliaries, musicality. All aspects will be examined by the toughest judges in the world of college bands. 4 will qualify for the big stage, where national champions will be crowned. Follow us on social media for rankings updates throughout the season. And join us in Atlanta on December 12th. For event and ticket information, visit bandoftheyear.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the SWAC 2025 Women's Basketball Media Day. It's the BCSN Game Time Show. And yes, it is that time that we get the Rattlers of Florida, Agricultural and Mechanical University that sits upon the highest of 7 hills in Tallahassee, Florida. We're going, yes, ladies, I'm an alumnus. So just in case you weren't sure about that, to get that going, Coach Gordon, how you doing there, ma'am?
I'm blessed. I'm going into year 3. I'm so excited. I don't know what to do.
Well, you know what, Coach? Let's you know what I've been doing? I'm going to do something a little different with you since you led in with that.
Okay.
This is year 3 for you.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about the differences in what's going on across the program and what your expectations are.
The difference is all 15 young ladies I recruited.
Okay.
All 15 of them have my DNA, which is a dog mentality. That's a DAWG, a dog. And the culture is here. The sisterhood is here. I love this team. They worked hard. They're not just about basketball. They're about academics. They're about being a total student athlete. With that being said, we have a 3.39 cumulative GPA. The young lady sitting all the way to my far left is an engineering major, and her GPA is a 4.0.
Okay.
April, what is your GPA?
I'm not even sure, Coach.
April GPA is a 3.75. So, you know, brains, beauty, and all above. And they ballers.
All right. Well, Coach, you know, looking at it, they got you guys picked to finish 8th. You know, last year, you know, was the season didn't end the way you wanted it to. But, you know, some changes in the league this year. Everybody's going to be at the tournament regardless. What can we expect from your team? And then let's go ahead and lead into who these ladies are when you introduce them for me.
What can you expect for this team? You're going to expect a team that knows how to finish games.
Okay.
That's what last year going to be different from last year to this year. We have point guard play. We have more than one point guard. We don't have a young lady that we have to force to play the point guard position. Mm-hmm. So we have 3. We have a 4-headed dragon in the middle of the floor, starting with Briasia to my left, which I'm happy about it. We have 3 shooters on the court at any time. That has the green light, right, April? Shoot the ball. Anytime they touch it, they have the green light to shoot the ball, and just have surrounded them with other pieces to the puzzles. I have 2 new coaches coming in with experience. Have an associate head coach with 17 years as a head coach at Virginia State. So super excited. Just about all the pieces to the puzzle coming together in year 3.
All right. All right. Well, cool. Well, let's get the official introduction of the young lady sitting next to you here.
Well, official introduction. This is April Hooks, transferring in from Alabama State.
Okay.
She's a redshirted sophomore coming off an ACL injury, and like I just alluded to earlier, and she has the green light to shoot the ball.
All right.
I do.
Miss Hooks, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
All right, so she said you were injured last season, coming off an ACL. What are you looking forward to this season?
I'm just looking forward to be back on the court playing. I'm very excited. I'm setting a lot of new goals for myself and tapping into like a mindset that I haven't been in a long time. So I'm really enjoying the experience at FAMU and playing again.
All right. Coach, who's this other young lady with the 4.0 down here?
The 4.0, we have Breasia. That's Breazia. Breasia Robinson. She's from Cleveland, Ohio, and she is transferring in from Florida Tech.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's 6'4". I told her she's long, lanky, and all above, something I've been missing for a while.
All right. So how are you, ma'am?
I'm excited to be here. I'm really, really good. I'm also coming off an injury, so I'm super grateful to even be in this position. The ability to be able to play under coach is like perfect for me. Actually play my position as well, so I'm just excited to establish myself this year for sure.
Oh, see, now you went ahead and led on into that. So what is it, what is it like being coached by someone who is a legend in the sport at your position?
It's not how you would think it would be. Like, she's not really that, I don't know, like, she's not that really overwhelming. She's really down to earth. I just get nuggets, new nuggets every day. I feel like I'm always learning, and I can go and ask her anything. So I'm just learning every day. It's a great experience for me. I'm super excited. The whole season you're going to hear me talking about coach.
Okay. All right. Well, ladies, tell me, what are you looking forward to most in SWAC play, and what do you want to say to some of the folks in the SWAC?
I'll go first. I'm looking forward to like the competitive spirit that the SWAC brings. Every game is going to be like a challenge. Like the students, the band, I love all of that because it gets me like going. And I feel like every game is going to everybody that we play, we're going to come ready to go. I think we're going to hit a lot of people by surprise. Just in practice, seeing what we have, I think a lot of people are not going to be expecting it. So I feel like you should definitely be on the lookout for us.
I'm also excited for the season and the bands and the HBCU culture since I was just at the PWI for the past 2 years. I'm definitely ready to tap back into this era. And what I have to say to people in the SWAC, be ready.
All right, Coach. Anything you want to let Rattler Nation know?
Well, just in year 3, when they predicted us to be a certain rank, it used to kind of like rattle me. It doesn't rattle me now because I know what I got behind me. And we just going to let our action speak for everything else. And we just ready to play. We're going to take one game at a time. But we looking to hang a banner in Al Lawson Center. Point blank. We want to be the first. I've been a part of a lot of firsts, and I want my young ladies to experience that because it's nothing like being the first or the only. And each one of my young ladies has a only story, or they got something deep. They got a why. So they have a chip on their shoulder. They got something to prove along with a third-year head coach.
All right, Rattler Nation, there it is. Our head coach is letting you know what the deal is. Looking for all you guys to come out and support, be at the Lawson Center, and get into it. Once again, you're here at the BCSN Game Time Show live from the SWAC 2025 Women's Media Day. Coach Gordon, thank you. Ladies, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more after this.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
All right, there you go. Right there, you heard that SWAC Media Day interview there. Roy Evans, of course, of Black College Sports Network, BCSN Game Time there. And as you recall, or as you heard, Coach Gordon there with April Hooks and Breasia Robinson. I found it interesting, guys, that April Hooks, of course, a transfer from Alabama State. Breasia Robinson, who spent a little time at UAPB. She also mentioned that she was at Florida Tech, but she also had some time spent at UAPB as well, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And actually Delaware State as well, when I did some digging on her background.
Okay. Taking a look here at the conference predictions, not just because yesterday was the women, today was the men. As you can see, the predicted order of finish for both. FAMU kind of almost in a similar spot on both rankings. 8th over on the women's side, and 8th on the men's side. Yeah. The other piece of news that I know you heard Roy mention, everybody goes to the tournament this year, fellas. Everybody goes. What are your thoughts? Any thoughts on what you heard from Coach Gordon there from the conversation she had with Roy? Marcus, Kelvin?
I'm curious. I know it's year 3 for Coach, but I'm curious with basically a total roster overall. Well, I won't say total. I think there are 1 or 2 players. I think the young lady who was the diminutive point guard, didn't she come back? I don't recall her name, but I think she may have been the only returnee.
Purifoy,
and Miss Purifoy. And I think everyone else is brand new. And going into year 3, which is, I guess, the last year of her original contract with a brand new team, I'm just interested to see how this plays out and what impact that has on her continued tenure, especially given the turmoil within the athletic department and things of that nature.
Yeah, that's a good question, Marcus. Because there has been a lot of instability. And I do think that, look, I sometimes think that basketball coaches are asked to do things. We're asking our coaches to do a lot of things on a shorter time leash, right? And so I think coaches is very comfortable in understanding that there's no more excuses, because as she clearly has said when she was on our show a couple times, these are her girls now, her DNA. Anything that is not produced, it is what it is, right? I guess that's the best way you got to put it.
Yeah, and you have 3 players who coming back. You got Purifoy, who's the point guard.
Oh yes.
You have Carter, who was a sit center.
Mm-hmm.
And you have and you have what was the other one? Super Rats. One of the Super Rats coming back. So
Ina.
Yeah. So you got 3 coming back. But also, to Marcus' point, my first thoughts, Coach always gonna say the right thing, get you fired up. She win a press conference every time, She say all the right things. She said the things you want to hear about 3-point guards, because we turned the ball over at a high rate last year. About the length, you got 3 young ladies, actually 4, who are like
6'3" or taller.
So yep. And so she knows what she's looking at. She said all the right things. Unfortunately, it hadn't came together yet the first couple of years. And she talked about finishing. We had a lead in probably half our SWAC games that we lost.
That was
a late lead, right? In the last minute too, and we just didn't finish. So she identified her weakness of her team from last year. We just got to see what this team looks like. On paper, it looks good, but she got a couple of new coaches coming in, so it's a lot of newness in this team. And it's going to be interesting to see how it comes together.
Now, one of the things about this schedule, a very friendly schedule. Some of the and of course, I don't have the whole schedule, but I'm just going to go off of some of the information that's available. You guys can Google FAMU women's basketball schedule, and this is what'll come up. We open the season November 3rd in town against Florida State, right? And then on Saturday, November 8th, we travel up to DC. The return game for that game last year, where Howard came down to us. So this year we go up to Howard on Saturday the 8th, and then we turn around on Monday the 10th, and we play at George Mason, which is obviously up in that area. So the DC Rattler Nation, that's a tough two game. It is. Yeah. It is. So that's an opportunity for the DC Northeast Rattlers to get out and go see Coach Gordon and the ladies. They're back in Orlando in Florida, November 21st, taking on UCF. We played UCF last year, so we come back to Orlando again. Isn't that similar? When is the Classic? Is that
that's Classic weekend?
Okay, so is that a Sunday game, the 21st?
I believe so.
No, it's a Friday. So it's a Friday before the Classic this year. The 21st is a Friday. So we'll get a chance to see them. November 25th is in Mercer. That's in Georgia. Now that is that's middle of the week. That's Tuesday of Thanksgiving. So the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, the Atlanta Rattlers or Middle Georgia, Central Georgia area, you guys get a chance to go over to Mercer and see the team. November 30th, they travel to South Alabama. November 30th, that's the hold on, let me make sure I got November 30th. That's the Sunday. December 17th, that's in Gainesville. That's at University of Florida. That's on a Wednesday, middle of the week, December 17th. Those are the only non-conference games I'm able to glean. Obviously, none of those are home games. So we're just waiting on the official schedule to be released before we can tell you who we have. But if I recall Coach saying, I thought she did mention a few home games, maybe even some games against some schools from around the state.
Yeah.
So yeah, all that's to come. Any other thoughts there, guys, on the women's team and season? I like the fact that Coach seems to have tried to address the many ills, from the ball handling to the shooting. My goodness, try to improve our shooting. As crazy as it sounds, health is going to be such a big factor for us. Health, especially when you have players who have had injuries in the past. You just pray that those injuries or the nagging injuries become an issue again for them. So for many of those young ladies who are looking we saw last year, who was it? The young lady who transferred from Syracuse, who had a good season. She was on our show. Her name escapes me right off the top, but she was coming off of a ACL injury. She managed to come back and she tried. I don't know where she transferred to, Marcus. I don't know if you kept up with where she transferred off.
I think it's somewhere.
A lot of those girls transferred, so I know that's a lot, but anyway, maybe we can catch up with that afterwards.
Just one other interesting thing in looking at the roster is we only have 3 seniors, and 2 of them are returning players in Carter and Super Rats. So she has a chance with this team to have a good core for at least 2 seasons, which is something she hadn't had her first 2 seasons. So we'll see.
Right. All right. Well, today was the men's version of Media Day, SWAC Men's Media Day. And so let's hear from Roy Evans as he got a chance to talk with Coach Charlie Ward, Jordan Chapman, and Tyler Shirley. He got a chance to talk to them a little earlier this afternoon, live from Birmingham for the SWAC Media Day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the BCSN Game Time Show, live from the 2025 SWAC Basketball Media Day. I am Roy Evans, graduate of Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, 1994, and I am now here with the Rattlers and my new head coach. And I'm going to say that. This is the one time that I get to be biased during this time, and I'm going to take it, so we're going to do it. Coach Charlie Ward. Coach, how are you doing?
Doing well, and appreciate you having us on.
Well, listen, this is always our pleasure to sit back and get an opportunity to talk to Rattlers. And I know that Rattler Nation is excited about you coming in and taking over the helm of the Rattler basketball program. We'll get into that a little bit later, but tell us about the two guys that you got here. Who you have with you?
Well, today we have George Chapman. He's been at FAMU the longest. He's the elder statesman on the team, and he's been through 3 head coaches, so hopefully I'm the best head coach out of the 3.
All right.
That's still up in the works right now. But he's a sharpshooter and a great defenseman. So we're excited about him being on the team and actually choosing to come back after he graduated. And then we have Tyler Shirley, who missed a good portion of the year last year with a wrist injury. And we're excited to have him come back as well because he's been doing really, really well for us this preseason, and we're excited about having him.
All right. So, Coach, I'm going to jump in and talk to these gentlemen for a minute. I am familiar with Mr. Chapman. We've seen him a couple of years. We've been doing this. And I'm going to ask both of you the same question. The opportunity to come back and play, we knew there's been transition, as Coach alluded to. Knowing when you get a coach like Coach Ward coming in, he's got opportunities to bring his people in and do what he wants to do to build the program. What made you want to stay and decided to stay in?
Really just the opportunity I saw playing for him. It was a lot of different reasons to leave, but once you saw the head coach coming in, you realized the reasons to leave, there aren't any anymore because he's here. So, and staying loyal to the school was a big thing for me too because I'm big on loyalty. So I felt like it was a good choice for me to stay.
All right, and didn't mention it, but of course, Mr. Chapman is all SWAC, second team coming into the conference this season. Mr. Shirley?
For me, I believed in what Coach Ward had planned for us, and for me, it's all about fit. I want to be somewhere where, I can fit into the system and the way they play. And talking to the staff, they explained to me and expressed to me that, I was an important piece that they needed coming back, and I was like, okay, I can rock with that.
Okay. Coach, of course, a lot of folks are familiar with you. And, the one period of time that I did any rooting for the Knicks is when you were playing for them as a Miami Heat fan. And so, you were a floor general out there, of course, being a quarterback point guard. And having that ability and looking at your players, what was it that brought you into really liking these players and wanting to keep them around?
Well, we were able to course, 5 of them to come back, which, just like anything else, new situation, new opportunity. And like I tell our guys all the time, we all were chosen to be here. They chose to be here. We chose them. And coaches, we were all chosen to be here. So while we're here, we might as well make the most of the situation because we were all chosen. And we're grateful for them choosing us because they had potentially other opportunities. And when it was all said and done, I think, they liked what they heard from us, and we were willing to work with what they had and continue to make them better, and vice versa when it was all said and done. And so we needed some veteran guys, some guys that knew about the SWAC and knew about the university to stick around, and I think we chose wisely. on that with that group, and we're grateful that they said yes.
Okay. Now let's get into the ranking. They got you guys finished 8th in the conference.
We heard.
Oh, there it is. See, that's a little chip that I'm not even used to hearing from covering that. How are we looking at using that for motivation for this season?
Well, we look at it. We're 4th from the bottom, and for us, that's good. That's a good place to be because you can only go up from there. And so I've always been an underdog mentality guy, and that's something that we'll continue to work towards because every day we have our own goals, and sometimes you need a little bit of motivation to help push you as well. I mean, that's everybody. I've been on top as well. I've been the hunted, and so I understand what that looks like as well. But when it's all said and done, you got to put the work in. The team that plays the best on that day consistently, the team that works together, the guys that buy into what the program and the coaches and the team is wanting from them, that's the team that's going to rise. Not the most talented team. It's a team that work together and willing to, hold each other accountable. And so that's where we are and what we're building. And when it's all said and done, we're going to compete. We're going to show up and compete. That's what we're practicing every day, just showing up and competing every day.
Well, that was going to be my next question. What type of style are we going to be able to look for?
Maybe the guys can tell you a little bit about, what we've been doing from a stylistic standpoint.
I see smiles. Go ahead, guys.
Go ahead, Chad.
Obviously, we want to play with pace, transition. We want to play together, play the right way, just be basketball players. Just knowing how to play, adjusting to your defense, to your offense. Even if we're in our offense and you see something that we can take advantage of, we want to create good matchups. Just playing with pace the right way, and everything will fall into place.
I feel like we're going to be a defensive-oriented team. For me, personally, I think we're going to be the best defensive team in the conference.
Okay.
So
off the goal.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. We take pride on defense, and we make shots too. We make a lot of shots.
All right. Well, listen, guys, I'm going to tell you two something. I mean, I know you all know about your coach, Florida State and everything, but were you born on campus? Did I hear that? Is that correct?
Yes,
that's correct. So he's a Rattler all the way through and through. So you got those bloodlines coming in. Coach, we want to thank you and the guys for coming out and talking to us today. Looking forward to following you. We will be down at Lawson during the season with the Game Time show, so we'll be getting some opportunities to make sure that the fans know who you guys are and keep it going. There will be a microscope on this Rattler program this year, so I hope you young fellas are ready.
Yeah, we're ready.
All right.
Thank you for having us.
No problem. Folks, that's going to do it for this one. Once again, Coach Charlie Ward, the Florida A&M Rattlers, will be back with more of the BCSN Game Time show from the SWAC 2025 Basketball Media Day.
All right. Let me see. Everybody's mic back up. Appreciate Roy Evans.
Yeah, thanks, boss.
Game Time show. Appreciate the boss for taking time out to put that together. Obviously, fresh, hot off the press as he talked to those guys today. Anything that you heard from Coach Ward or Jordan or Tyler that got you excited about the upcoming season? Kelvin, Marcus?
Yeah, I love the fact that they understand what their identity is going to be and what the coach is looking for. You heard them talk about defense and being strong on that end of the court, and with the length they have, they should be able to execute it pretty well. And then from an offensive standpoint, I've had a chance to watch them actually an entire practice. But from an offensive standpoint, you've heard Coach Ward talk about it, and I thought Jordan did a good job of talking about it too. You probably won't see with this team a bunch of 25-point scores like we were dependent on last season. This offense is built to take advantage of whatever the mismatch is. So, yes, they can make shots, but what I would anticipate you seeing from this team from an offensive standpoint is ball movement with probably the point forward position, like someone like PJ and maybe Shirley handling the ball a lot and running a version of a triangle. But the ball will be moving around a lot, and wherever the mismatch is, I think that you can expect them to deliver it to the player with the mismatch and to finish at the rim, or if it's a 3-point shot, finish behind the 3-point line.
Marcus?
I guess the thing that perked my ears up is when the coach said we noticed that they were ranked 8th. So it sounds like he understands the position that the team is in, but it sounds like he wants to do something about it and wants to let the conference know that he's going to do something about it. So I think that was the most exciting thing for me, not resting on laurels, and not to say that, and our Coach Crary and the previous staff was just like, he spoke with confidence as well, but just having that, we see where people have us slotted, but we're not satisfied with that. At least that's what I'm interpreting from his reaction to the preseason ranking.
I'm salivating about the fact that our rival is predicted number 1. Nothing will be sweeter than on January 3rd, as I'm looking at the schedule, and then again on March 5th, when we beat them in Daytona and back in Tallahassee. And yes, I said what I said, right? I'm calling for 2 wins. When we beat them in both locations, their place and ours, it'll be even sweeter, because notice 12 of the, if you look at it, the only one other school got a first place vote. So it was a majority of folks in the conference predicting Bethune-Cookman, right? If I'm reading that right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that says something. So, I mean, we know who the target is. It's right in our own backyard. That's great. That's great. Again, congrats to Jordan Chapman, selected all SWAC second team. Really the only, and again, one of 5 returners. I think one of the more interesting returners outside of Jordan Chapman, Caleb Washington.
Caleb.
Caleb Washington, who we saw when Caleb Washington was dialed in. Woo, he was serious. Now, when he wasn't dialed in, okay. But if this staff is able to get him to be dialed in every night, this kid can be dangerous. I will not forget, Coach Crary actually last year thought Washington was the player who had the potential to be SWAC Player of the Year, right? I mean, and he knew what Milton and why can't I remember? Sterling. He knew what Sterling and Milton were, right? But he felt like Washington was the one that if he put it all together mentally and physically, he was the one who could be SWAC. So don't be surprised if the light bulb goes off for Washington this season under Coach Ward and staff. Again, looking at the schedule for the men this season, they open up in Tampa on November 3rd. Again, we are literally 4 weeks away from the start of basketball season, fellas. How wild is that? 4 weeks. November 3rd, the men are against South Florida, against the USF Bulls. So Tampa Rattlers, that's an 8 o'clock tip-off. And then on November 11th, which I believe is a Tuesday, they're in Orlando taking on UCF. So Johnny Dawkins and the UCF Knights. That's November 11th for all of us Orlando Rattlers. That's a Tuesday, so that'll be fun. Then they travel up to play the University of Georgia, UGA, on November 17th. On December 2nd, they will be in Jacksonville taking on Jacksonville University. So Jacksonville Rattlers get a chance to see them. There's a scheduled home game December 5th. Now, I know that in between that November 17th and December 2nd game, there's the event going on in Orlando. So another opportunity for Central Florida Rattlers. I think is that taking place during Thanksgiving again, guys? That Orlando Classic?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay. So let me see where else. Other non-conference games, they take on Tarleton State December 19th. They travel to TCU on December 21st. And then they're back in Atlanta taking on Georgia Tech on December 29th. That's just 8 of the non-conference games. The rest of them, I'm sure, will be filled in once the actual schedule, the official schedule, gets released. Make sure to check FAMUathletics.com. Also, be looking out there as well. Where's my graphic? Because we do have a big event coming up, if I can find my graphic for it. Big event coming up this Friday. Hoops on the Hill, Friday night. So just in a couple days, Friday night at the Lawson Center. Looking at the official time on that.
5 p.m. is when doors open.
Okay, doors open at 5 p.m. Is there any fees to get into that? I'm looking here at the basketball feed. No, I guess it's free. It looks like it's free.
Yeah.
5:30 p.m. Doors open at 5. It's at the Al Lawson Center, which, so anybody who's in town for this upcoming weekend for the North Carolina Central game, you get a chance to head over and check out the two teams. I'm sure they will maybe be doing some contests, doing an opportunity to meet the team, meet the coaches, obviously. Hopefully the schedules will be released. That'd be great. If we have schedule posters, it'll be good to see schedule posters released.
And get your season tickets. That'd be great too. Get your season tickets, people.
Get your season tickets. EA asked the question about, is the schedule, I believe EA, the Thursday, Saturday, Monday thing is still happening.
As far as I know, that's correct.
Yeah, I mean, the schedules are released. Like right now, you could go to Google and you can see every conference game and the dates. I'm just looking at the women's schedule right here online. We play Bethune on January 3rd, which is a Saturday. Then we play Grambling on Thursday, January 8th, and Southern Saturday the 10th. So it does appear that the women playing on Thursday and Saturday is still happening. The men playing on Saturday and Monday.
Yeah.
Saturday, Monday. So that is still a thing. Be interesting to see how year 2 of that format works, especially given the fact that you have the SWAC TV now, which means all the games can be seen, and theoretically, I'm told that no more games should be behind paywalls. That's what I've come to believe. We'll see. But that's the advantage now, where now this is a great opportunity to see all these games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, no more paywall, when we go to Southern, Jackson State, all these other schools who've been doing the paywall stuff.
With jacked up quality.
Yeah, if it's going to be jacked up, let's just all watch it for free. Yeah, but there is some benefits to that. Maybe I'll share at another time some of the benefits. There are benefits to being on SWAC TV compared to what previously existed. For example, Well, I'm not gonna release that. I was gonna say something, but I said no.
Oh, you holding out? That's
I am holding out.
Is that what we doing now? Just like with the hat?
It is. Just like the hat. You notice the hat, Marcus? You see the hat?
I saw that.
Yeah, like fresh. Soon to be coming to a online store. BCSN school color themed gear. T-shirts, sweatshirts, hats. There you go. Larry's asking a question, so no questions. What questions, Larry? Ask away, Larry. What questions you got, brother? Brother Larry, what you got for us?
I don't know, maybe he's asking if we have any questions or concerns about the season for either team.
I mean, we don't know what either one is. New teams, new coaches.
Yeah, new teams.
We won't know until we actually see them play against somebody else. What I can say just in general is the rosters look like a Division I roster. You got size, you got point guard play, you got shooters. On Coach, I heard Coach Gordon talk about the staff additions. I'm waiting for the official announcements so I can do a little deeper dive. But I really love Coach Ward's staff. That staff can coach, and they're young. And they're young. And they've been coaching kids, those young men, over the last 7 to 8 years, so they'll be able to relate to those kids. And it'll be a fun game. It'll be a fun brand of basketball. That's the one thing I think you see with Coach Ward's team. It'll be a fun brand of basketball to watch. It'll look like these guys are.
You didn't think last year was fun? You didn't think last year was fun?
It was exciting, yeah. But it was a lot of one-on-one. Jag up. If he was hot, it was good. If he was not, it wasn't.
I mean, that's who we had. Yeah. We had shooters. Shooters shoot.
I think we'll be more consistent. I think from quarter to quarter with his teams, and I found it interesting that we were predicted 8th. You saw who was predicted 7th, right? On the men's side.
Oh yeah. Right. Yeah, Grambling was picked 7th.
Yeah.
Oh, Larry's asking, why didn't we ask if Jet will be allowed to play? I mean, we asked
indirectly. I heard because you asked about the analogy you gave around when
he said it in so many different ways, guys. Yeah. I mean, you guys.
He's not going to tell you that straight out.
No, he's not. He's not going to. You just got to understand that he's not going to answer that straight out. We got to be. You got to be a little coy and smart about asking. Otherwise we're beating a dead horse.
Well, not only that, he's got a game Saturday,
and you got to keep you want to keep your opponent guessing.
Right.
Yeah. VMAT said, now this is something that must have come out of the interviews. Grambling men's basketball players said they're looking forward to the FAMU game. Really? How many former FAMU guys are over at Grambling?
I don't know. I know two of our signees. When Coach Carey was here, we followed him to Grambling. The young man from Chicago, I think it's Chicago, Whitney Young, and a transfer. I don't know.
I find it really interesting. Guys who were at FAMU for a cup of coffee getting fired up to coming back to FAMU. I get a real chuckle out of that. I mean, really, come on now. That amuses me. Now, Coffee if Coffee is over there, he might be the only one on that roster.
Yeah, Coffee's over there.
Coffee's the only one who might be able to, have some thoughts about wanting to come back. Everybody else, save it. You weren't here for longer than a cup of coffee, so, And half the people who were here when you were probably still aren't around at FAMU anymore. So, yeah, miss me with the fake outrage. But, hey, it should be a good game, though, because we know what kind of energy Coach Prairie is going to come with.
Coach, Coach, he going to be fired up, and they just feeding off his energy.
Oh, yeah, they're gonna find a way. They're going to find a way. They're going to find a way. They're going to find a way to make it mean something, so it's all good. It's all good.
See if I can get under Coach skin when we play them.
Yeah,
he get fiery. He get real fiery.
Okay, so appreciate everybody for tuning in to the SWAC Basketball Media Day coverage. We'll have more of the clips. Roy, he talked to all the coaches, which is kind of interesting that the SWAC Media Day is held over 2 days.
Why is it held during the middle of the daggone week?
Say that again, Kelvin.
Why is it held over the middle of the week? Why not have it?
When would you have it during football? When would you have it during football season, Kelvin? When would you have it? On the weekend?
If you're gonna have it they used to do it on the Sunday, Monday, or Thursday, Friday. Not in the middle of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday.
It's the 2 days of the week when there's no football on TV right now, Kelvin. Tuesday and Wednesday.
Man, but nobody's really there. I'm saying if you're gonna have it so
I think that's a different issue.
Yeah. Have it so that those folks can have the environment that they deserve, the stage that they should have.
I think that's incumbent upon. Okay, so I'll say this.
Because outside of the podcast and the SWAC TV, I mean, most people can't get there during the middle of the week like that.
I'll just say the same people that are covering and want to be at the SWAC media or SWAC basketball tournament in March, which does have games during the middle of the week. I want you to make an effort to be at one of the 2 days.
Whether it ain't about what you want, though. It ain't about what you want, though.
No, it has to be.
You have to plan things. What I'm getting at, and this is where I'm getting on my little high horse here again. I'm really trying to educate us as a fan base, but HBCU conferences and institutions in general. You have to plan for success, not want for success. So when you tell people, I gave you my answer, but when you tell folks who cover this thing or people who support it, what you want them to do versus what can we do that will make you want to participate or make it easier for you to participate. Those are two different things. And I just really wish from a business model standpoint, we would look at things that way. Not so easy and convenient for the conference office necessarily.
Okay, so there's two thoughts here. I do think one thing is I think 2 days is a bit much. I think it would, because I've always said I dislike the fact that the football media day is done in 1 day and it's in a 4-hour window. Like I felt like the SWAC football media day needs to be 2 days because of how many people traditionally come, right? But you have twice as many teams with men and women's basketball, so you do 2 days. But the problem is the number of media outlets is fewer, much fewer. So you're in the middle of the season. I saw Lil Baby said do it during the conference bye week. There is no conference bye week. What conference? I mean, the season starts in November, so you have to get it in sometime right at the beginning of the
it has to be October
season, right? It has to be, right at there's a week this week or last week was your window to kind of get it in. Now, Monday, okay, maybe you could do it on a Monday. I don't think Friday's a good day, personally. So if you don't do it on a Monday and Tuesday, then Tuesday and Wednesday are the next options, in my opinion, if you're going to do 2 days. I just think you're in a tough spot because you're in football season. But again, these same outlets, all of the media outlets that can make it in March to your tournament, which is during the middle of the week. I mean, hey, you can't get to Birmingham for one of these 2 days?
How many of them actually cover the first couple of games? Honestly, how many showing up on Tuesday at 12 o'clock? What the covering? Not many. But that's not apples and oranges. I said my piece. I stand on it. I just think it could be better. I want to see it improve.
All right. Let's take a look at the football schedule for this week, and let's close the show out with our predictions. Here's the schedule for this week number 7 in the SWAC. We got a couple of homecoming games right here at the top of the list. I believe it's homecoming for Alabama A&M.
Is Lincoln gonna show up? They hadn't played in 2 weeks.
I'm told that when I was listening to, matter of fact, via the BCSN Pod Zone, which is a great opportunity to plug the BCSN Pod Zone, Kelvin. Thanks for mentioning it. Brave Talk with Charles Edmond. Charles Edmond, he covers Alcorn State Sports Radio. He spoke not only to the coach, but the athletic director of Alcorn State during the Cedric Thomas coaches show on Monday. Remember when there used to be football coaches shows? Mm-hmm. Anyway, Alcorn still does one. But anyway, that they did speak about that. And so I'm told that Lincoln is supposed to be there.
Okay.
We'll see. Because Lincoln has a run where they are homecoming fodder for like
everybody
3 straight weeks. Yeah. So VUL is a homecoming opponent 4 straight weeks for HBCUs. Lincoln 3 straight weeks. This week and the next 2 weeks.
I don't know. I don't know if either one of those schools should be legal to play.
Yeah, me neither. I do agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Do you guys predict anything? And Alcorn State has not won a home game. They haven't won a game yet. They lost 13-12 last week. Haven't won a game all season. Of course, that's our homecoming opponent next week.
Don't start winning now. Keep that same energy, Alcorn.
Alabama A&M, Valley. Oh, any thoughts there? Valley, is that going to be worth a game watching? Valley's been competitive in their 2 SWAC games.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Mm-hmm. I think for at least for a while, yeah.
Southern at Bethune. Sneaky good game.
Yeah,
maybe.
Agree. Well, Bethune has found an offense.
They have. If their quarterback is back.
Yeah, you have to outscore them. So Southern may be in trouble in that one.
I agree. Southern has to outscore Bethune, who even with their backup, they look very capable against. They just, they made a few dumb turnovers, but it's a winnable game for Bethune.
So I think Alabama and of course, Alcorn if they play that game, and I'm going with Bethune against Southern.
UAPB, I think that's a homecoming game for them as well. That was a shockingly disappointing game they played against Texas Southern. They got blown out 51-7.
They don't know how to win. They don't know how to handle success.
Yeah.
Yeah. that's the last thing that comes with a team. They get a W, man, and they the best things to slice bread.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. But who the hell is Westgate? Is that a Division II or NAIA or what?
I think that's Division II. Homecoming games at the bottom of the schedule. Grambling hosting Texas Southern. They better watch out. Grambling State better watch out.
Yeah, that could go either way. That's a toss-up game.
Yeah, I think that is a pick'em game. That's a pick'em game. I'd be curious to see what the line is on that. And then, of course, game of the year right now, midway point of the season.
Absolutely.
Alabama State at Jackson State.
Very interesting game for me. I think it's probably going to end up being a shootout.
I'd be surprised if it's not a shootout.
Yeah, I don't know if either team's defense is scary. So yeah, I think
Jackson State. Go ahead. Well, I was going to say, I think of the two defenses that I think has the best chance to turn in a good performance, it's Jackson State.
Yeah, defensive wise. Yeah.
Defensive wise. If I had to say who has a defensive edge, I think Jackson State has the defensive edge. I know Jacoby Morgan has put up some nice numbers the last 2 weeks. I still think Body is the better quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And they have, I think both teams have solid running games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if this game is not in the 40s, to be honest. I really would be surprised. And what Jackson State does in the second half will tell me a lot, because that's where Jackson State has been their best, in the second half of games. Alabama State has won each. So here's the little stat that I pulled out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Alabama State, each of the last 20 meetings is 10-10. Right. 6 of the 10 wins by Alabama State have been at Jackson State, including homecoming 2 years ago.
Yep.
I'm gonna go Jackson. I'm gonna go Alabama State with the upset. If it's an upset because you're going on the road, but I'm going Alabama State with the win by 3, by a field goal, late field goal,
so
to win the game.
So this is tough for me, because normally I would root for Alabama State, to be honest. But we still got JSU on the schedule, so I guess I got to
win.
I guess I got to go with JSU on this one at home.
Just to have a chance to beat them and even it out. I get you. I see what you're doing.
Yeah. I'm going that route.
I got you, Marcus. What do you got?
I don't know. It's a toss-up, but I agree that I think Body's the better QB, and Bama State has been shown to this year at least to be major offense and just outscoring people versus actually stifling anybody, except for when they played who was it, Miles, a couple weeks ago.
Division II,
yeah. So I guess the defensive edge, if you would, and home field advantage for Jackson State. So I'm gonna go with Jackson State.
Ooh, Steve said Jackson State is a 6.5-point favorite. Oh, give me those points, please. I'm looking for that. And then another little stat. 25 years to the date, Alabama State beat Jackson State for homecoming 61-58.
Oof.
I love those trends. Give me the 6.5 points, and I'll take Alabama State. Even if Jackson State wins by a field goal, I'm covering.
Yeah, because Alabama State, the reason you would feel comfortable with that, Bryan, I think I would feel comfortable with it. Alabama State don't really turn the ball over.
Correct.
they're not a high risk offense. So I agree with you.
And they're really running the ball well.
They are.
Really, and they do it with so many different backs too. That just goes to show what that offensive line is doing.
Yes, keep JSU offense off the field. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, they chewed up opening drive against us. Took 7 minutes, 7+ minutes. I mean, if they get the ball first and they can do something like that, it's a game changer. All of a sudden, you start forcing your opponent to play a little tight. All right, and then at 3 o'clock Eastern, 2 Central on HBCU Go, North Carolina Central comes into Bragg to take on the Rattlers. Let's go bold prediction and score, Marcus. Bold prediction and score. What you got?
I don't know. My bold predictions this year haven't been hitting on anything. We haven't got any.
None of us
returns or interceptions or anything like that. So I have to come with something different.
That's why it's bold, Marcus. That's why it's called bold prediction. Bold score, maybe?
Oh, let's see. Bold prediction. There will be a Speedy Rogers sighting. He's been kind of missing the last couple of games. I know he was injured against Albany, but other than that 26-yard catch against Howard, he's been a little quiet. So I'm gonna resurrect that one. So he's gonna get a touchdown.
Okay, there you go. I'm like, what does exciting mean? I was like,
and score. I went homie. You know, I did the homer thing last time, and Bama State just took us behind the woodshed. So
yes,
I don't know. I don't know if I can do the homer thing, but it's because looking at it, NC Central's looking good. We got some things to prove. So I don't know. I'm gonna go Central 30, FAMU 17.
Ooh, Marcus. Marcus, you're saying Central wins by 2 touchdowns?
13 points.
Oh, excuse me. Ooh, Kelvin? We're into uncharted territory. We start predicting losses.
I know.
This sucks. This feeling sucks.
It does.
Jesus.
So my bold prediction is we'll score with 30. Yeah, we're gonna
okay.
Yeah, we're gonna have an offensive explosion this game. The problem is it ain't gonna. I don't know if defense gonna stop them enough. I'm going Central 42-35 in a shootout.
42-35. You guys. Man. All right. Bold prediction. I has to be bold because it hasn't happened. Dad Franklin over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. I'm still holding out hope. Keep hope alive. And I will not. Now, you guys are asking me, a couple guys are asking me for the point spread. It's not available yet. Let me see. I'm on the FanDuel Sportsbook site to see if they have it up yet. Sometimes FanDuel might put it up. Yeah, FCS aren't up. But I can tell you Computer Metrics have it as a 7-point margin in favor of North Carolina Central. Remember, I was shocked when FAMU was a 7. How many points were we an underdog? 7.5 points to Alabama State. I think you'll see a similar line against North Carolina Central. Vegas is going to do it based on numbers. So again, my bold prediction: Thad Franklin over 100 yards and two rushing touchdowns. I'm going to go off the beaten path here from you guys. I'm going to go FAMU 31, Central 28. I can't. I gotta believe. I gotta hold out hope, man. I gotta believe. 31-28, either FAMU gets a late scoring drive or we kick a game-winning field goal. That's my prediction.
The tailgate will be much better at post-game if that happens.
I mean, look, it'll be a whole new atmosphere around campus.
Yeah, homecoming.
That'll be a
heck of a way to kick off homecoming.
Mm-hmm.
It surely would.
We really will be brag different then. And Troy, save Troy eyebrow.
Hashtag save Troy's eyebrow. That's the new hashtag right there. Hashtag save Troy's eyebrow. I love it. All right. Gotta thank Coach James Colzie, the third head coach, for coming on. He done ducked the smoke, and he went out there to the 220 Club in the afternoon, came on our show this evening. So real stand up. Appreciate him for doing that. I know we may not have been able to answer all of your questions that you guys had for Coach Colzie, but we did see them, tried to rework them a little bit, try to be a little professional about it. Again, we still want to keep, as Kelvin said, we're all going in the same direction, wanting wins, trying to root this team on, and this team is out there working to try to get a win. So just trust that part still exists.
Still like
how
ours.
Yeah, exactly. The how is always up for debate and question. So we'll see. Thank you everybody for watching. You can always donate to the show via the Cash App, the Square, on Super Chats, via JBN Online, or by hitting the thumbs up, the like, share, subscribe. Even if you don't listen, go download the BCSN Pod Zone everywhere you listen to podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all of those places. It means a lot, helps the algorithm. So continue to share the show. To everyone who's traveling to Tallahassee this weekend, I will see you there. Kelvin will be there somewhere, right? The game will be on HBCU Go, but we'd always love it if you'd open up your iHeartRadio app or the 96.1 Jams app and listen to the Rattler Football Network featuring Albert Chester and myself. And we'll try to bring you a good game as it's happening on the field. So you can always listen to us if you can't watch it or you get tired of listening to the people who are talking. I don't even know who's calling it for Go, but, there it is. All right. For Marcus Green, Kelvin Rozier, thanks again to Coach Colzie and, of course, to Roy Evans, along with Coach Gordon and Coach Ward. This has been the O&G Strike Zone right here on the Black College Sports Network. Fangs up, Rattlers. Let's keep striking and strike, and strike again. We'll see you guys on Monday. Monday Night Review coming up now that we got another game to talk about. Monday Night Review, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central. Peace out, everybody.
Oh,